Welcome, everybody, to Friends with Backlog, a podcast where I bring friends on and talk about backlog and other things like video game news and stuff. I have with me two friends to discuss this with Friends with Backlog, Brian, a.k.a. Orpheon, and Orpheon, Nick, a.k.a. Cammy, and I am Mark, a.k.a. Frosty. Today, we are going to not play anything. We're just going to have a podcast.
Just keep going. Don't stop.
We'll just keep
You were
going.
doing good. It was happening.
Yeah, so I did... Shit, I should have wrote down these notes about topics and stuff, but I completely forgot to do it. Doesn't matter.
I have topics. I have notes on them if you want me to give them in order.
Well, I was thinking, we could start off with the thing that is the most prevalent, what we were all excited for last week, which is the PlayStation 5.
I thought you were going to say Dreamhaven. Okay, well, whatever.
I am excited for that. I am excited, which is weird because that's news that just came out today, which was out of nowhere. And since you mentioned it, that makes me want to ask you why it's so exciting for you, Nick. Why?
Yeah, I was just trolling you. I actually don't really care.
Oh, well, fuck you. All right. PlayStation 5 pre-orders, complete mess. Now, I guess I kind of expected it to be pretty bad. I'm used to things like, having to try to get it right when it's released and everything, and like, I didn't even know when this was going to be released. They just said, hey, we have it available, get it.
I don't
Well,
think
they made it
Sony
seem like-
knew when this was going to be released. I think they didn't really communicate that well with the retailers or something like that. I'm not really sure. There was some miscommunication there.
The day that it came out was the day was it last Wednesday? Yeah, I think it was supposed to be on Thursday. Like the pre-order was supposed to be like tomorrow, and then all of a sudden Walmart started it by saying, "Hey bitches, we're selling it now. We don't care. We're Americans. We don't have to wait till tomorrow." And then everyone else started doing it, so it was a disaster. Which was good because you got to see Microsoft trolling, being like, unlike the other release, it will happen at 8 p.m. or 8 a.m. whatever it came out.
Yeah, no, and theirs went well from what I saw. They did theirs. They had some available for quite a while. I mean, I don't think the interest is as high for Xbox as it is for PlayStation, but...
So a coworker did the same thing we did, where he was up and he had the time. He had every single retailer opened on release, and he only got through one. And turns out the Xbox debacle is almost identical.
Is it?
Well, not the selling out is happening as fast as the PlayStation. It's just the PlayStation one, because all the retailers are doing it at such different windows. It was a non-uniform debacle, but is the debacle really like Xbox was rolled out plain, right? Here's when it's rolling out, here's when you can buy it, and it sold out almost instantly, right?
That's what I expect,
yeah. And I do too. I mean, I haven't actually been a part of a pre-order new system for like 20 years. I assume, isn't this what happens with all new systems?
It might be what happens with like new. I don't know. So on a smaller scale, when I worked in a sporting goods store, and we had like softball bats that were like hot softball bats, and they had very specific instructions from like Louisville or Easton. You release them on this day. You're only allowed to have this many. This is the price you're selling them at. It was very restrictive, and it seemed like maybe on a larger scale it just doesn't work. I don't know, but like they just couldn't handle it.
Well, I do know a lot of stuff used to be not online for pre-orders. Like you had to go in the stores and stuff. Before, in the past, it wasn't like a big thing to pre-order online. I remember for PlayStation 3. I don't remember 4. Because I didn't get 4 when it first got released.
Neither did I.
3 was, I think that wasn't too difficult. You just went to a GameStop the day that they started doing pre-orders and you got it. I don't remember it being very difficult. I know I got the Switch when it first came out, so I do have that. But
I know the Wii was hard, right? People were waiting in line forever for the
Yeah.
Wii.
were they?
Yeah, I remember.
No, I got the Wii. No, I remember getting the Wii. And I didn't wait in line too long.
Is this a
Sabrina had to
Tennessee
wait, like,
thing
overnight, I
though?
think.
Because I remember, I think here one night
Maybe.
we went to Walmart and it happened to be the night of a console release. We just didn't know it because when we were walking up, it was like 11:30, and there was like this like line outside of like an event, and we're like, "What is going on?" And we walked in, it was just slammed full of people, and it was that PlayStation 2?
I think it had to have been two.
Yeah, I think it was PlayStation 2.
And we
yeah.
weren't going there for that. We were going there for like a Zelda game or something, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it turns out our friend wanted to get a Zelda game, but he got his dates completely wrong. And so we're like, wow, Zelda's pretty popular. But it turns out it was for the PlayStation 2
Were they
release. And
even
in fact,
doing pre-orders back with PlayStation 2? Wasn't that just like you went there when the
you just
stores
had to
opened?
get, I think you had to go and buy it. But
I think
and then
so.
they had like ticketing, and then there was lotteries. And then every time they gave it to a person, they had to be escorted by security
Yeah.
from the back of the store to their, however they were, their transportation to leave. And we're just like, wow, this is intense.
No, I was actually, my friend worked at a GameStop when PlayStation 3 came out, and he was like, "Hey man, can you just come up and like walk with people after they buy their PlayStation 3, just make sure that nothing weird happens?" Like, sure, why not? I'll do it. And it didn't pay me or anything. I just knew the people there, and I was like, "Yeah, I want to hang out on a release night and seem relatively important." So yeah, and so that I walked with people about 10 feet to their car when PlayStation 3 was released.
Oh, Mark the Protector.
Yeah, they didn't do it for the Wii because they're like, if someone steals a Wii, you just buy another one. They're not that expensive. It was completely different, but the PlayStation 3 was serious business when it came out. But yeah, no,
The balsa wood of video game consoles. Poor Wii.
yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I think it's just changed. It wasn't really pre-orders before. That wasn't like a huge thing. Now it is, and that's the only way people are buying it because they don't want to go out to stores and pre-order or anything. And if you work at a GameStop and you find out you have access to do pre-orders for PlayStation 5, and your friends want PlayStation 5, you're like, "Hey, dude, I just found out. No one knows. You want a PlayStation 5?" And then you can just give it to all your friends and stuff, and just fuck off for everyone you don't know. So that's what I assumed happened with a lot of GameStops, at least. I don't know about other stores, but
Well, what I thought was crazy is like the smaller businesses that were selling it, they oversold. A bunch of them did. So they had to write emails afterwards saying, "Hey, I'm sorry you got one, but you didn't really get one. We don't have that many." Like, that's crazy. You're overselling what your stock is.
yeah, I mean, I can see it happening. But yeah, with PlayStation 5, you're going to piss off people. A lot of people doing that. How many people are not going to show up for their PlayStation 5? Like, how much room do you have for error? I know hotels and like, airlines and stuff do that, but you don't really have a lot of room for, PlayStation 5, I think.
I remember reading a thing the day that the PlayStation that conference, the video conference went out, and they didn't know when the live orders. And I've read somewhere on Reddit, someone worked for a major retailer, and they were like, "Here's the thing, I work for a blank big retailer. We have no idea how many actual consoles we're going to be getting, so we can't actually judge how many we give out because we don't even know our orders yet because we haven't worked with them in PlayStation with Sony themselves. So by the time things start selling, I think the retailers were doing guessing games.
Yeah,
Right?
probably.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, this is what we've estimated we're going to get. Let's lock it in.
So I tried to call Fry's, by the way, and I was like, "Hey."
Oh, I forgot. They're still in business. Good for
Yeah,
them.
they are. And so I tried to see if they were doing it, and they were like, "We don't know anything, so we don't know when anything about the PlayStation 5 is happening, so we're not doing pre-orders for it yet." I was like, "Okay, I guess that's just how
They
it
got
is."
relegated to, like, the closet. You're like, we just don't. The retailer closet. We can't find anything out.
They're like, "Can you tell us something? Can you give us a
Yeah.
call
Do
when
you know anything that we could pass on? We're just.
They gave me a very blank, like, "No, I don't know" answer kind of thing. I called Target, they're like, "No, it's all online." I called GameStop, and they're like, "Nah, all stores are sold out. Yeah, no, sorry." It's like, okay, you're not even open yet on the day that the pre-orders are supposed to start. Makes sense. I didn't give him a lot of shit though, but I wanted to. Just like, dude, being paid minimum wage on the phone, I'm not gonna yell at him about something he can't control.
And they're already going to be getting piled on all day.
Yeah.
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 But there is that rumor that if you go in person to GameStop on Friday, they will have some pre-orders that will be like a week or two later than the actual release. So,
are you gonna do it?
Yeah, probably. Why not? I might drive up there, and then if there's like people lined up and like crazy, maybe not. But if it's like a couple of dudes sitting there in front of the door, maybe. Because I could deal with a couple weeks.
Aren't there like quarantine hours, like noon to 8?
They're
right
noon.
now?
Yeah, they're noon. Yeah. So I'd have to go up there at like 11:30 or so, 11. On my lunch break.
Age, like, is this going to be worth it or not?
Yeah. Yeah, because a lot of people are stupid.
What was the fraud alert that kept going on? I saw it wasn't just you guys that were messaging about that. There was a bunch of things over the internet where like you think you ordered a PlayStation and then you get a fraud alert on your account and you didn't go through.
Well, it's just with Walmart. I don't know. Like my credit card didn't like Walmart at all. I could have had one, but
no, it actually has less to do with Walmart. I know this because I got a fraud alert on one of the things. I forget what it was, but I got a fraud alert, and then I called and I had to like reopen my card, and I talked to the fraud guy, and he was straight up like, "Oh yeah, we've been getting fraud for PS5s all day. Like they just started like shutting down." However, the model works to determine if they think it's a fraud, like a fraud transaction. But he goes, "Oh yeah, there's been a lot of these." He goes, "Did you get one?" I'm like, "Oh no." And he goes, "Oh." I was like, that's weird. He seemed like so genuinely and like excited and like rooting for me to get one. I was like, no, I might have, but the fraud rejected. He's like, oh, that's bad luck.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. He was a really nice guy. But yeah, he said that they had been experiencing it like just for PS5 rejections. So,
well, yeah, because there's probably like a billion people trying to order stuff constantly for PlayStation 5. And it's just like 1 second, a million clicks on a website. I mean, it's pretty bad. I can't imagine what the bots and stuff are doing, but do people buy $5,000 pre-order things that got scalped?
So, okay. I read an article that was talking about this is all, I'm going to say this out loud because I want to say we can talk about the shoe mafia.
Oh,
so yeah, okay. So there's the shoe collectors and the pre-order drops. Like one thing's different, right? So they will drop one to 2,000 shoes, and the people who are into shoes, like that's a premium thing. So there's this that moved in this group. I'm going to call them the shoe mafia, and then they started using bots to buy a bunch of them because they knew that they could resell them out. So the shoe mafia was like, that's why I think a lot of people who caught the PS5s first were like, you guys don't know about the shoe release problem. Like all the people who were involved in that were like hyper aware of this. So what happened, I guess, this summer, because this quarantine happened, Switch has been, really out of stock. But the other problem is the shoe mafia moved in and started buying up Switches. This is what I heard. I don't know. But I know that bots have been buying resellers, buying Switches through whole quarantine, which is why you still have a tough time buying it. And they said they've moved into buying these new consoles. So they have this really sophisticated groups who have very good bots that are just, we know they're buying it because we didn't. We lost out on our Walmart restock, and it sold out in 4 seconds. I was like, I could not have bought it faster, and it was already gone.
Yeah.
That's
exactly how it was for me. Although I do think that I could have squeezed in with Walmart. I do legitimately think I could have squeezed in with that, man.
Yeah.
I do have a couple of friends who told me, hey, I had a second pre-order. If you really need one, we could probably get you situated. But
I have a coworker who said his sister has 2 pre-orders for the Xbox. And I was like, oh, no, I'm good. Thank you, though. That's very...
I didn't try for the Xbox. I thought about it. I was like, man, I could probably get an Xbox with the, the fortitude I had with PlayStation would probably work with an organized pre-order system, and I could probably get that. But then I was like, do I want one? It's all just going to be on PC. what's the point? And so I didn't go for it.
I mean,
But
if you like playing the console games, if you like sitting down on a couch and playing a game instead of being on your PC.
I mean, I do sometimes, and I rather be on a PC a lot of times though.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of PC games. Oh well, maybe we'll get one. We just might not get it as soon as we want to get it. Is your pre-order thing actually going to go through? You think, Brian?
I don't know. So, it's still sitting there. It's quote shipping it to their warehouse. I have no idea. I'm assuming it's not.
I saw that go up and I was like, do I want to do this? I was like, I don't. This looks a little fishy, so I avoided it. But
Well, and that's why, like, I don't mind buying that on credit card, because if it is fishy and then it turns out to not good delivery of product, you can, like, our credit cards, the companies that we both use, are very good with fraud. So I can, I'm not worried if the product doesn't get delivered, and you're out that like $700 or whatever. It's like, well, you're not out. You can just push the fraud and they'll give you the money back. And it's, because you're not scamming the system. You're like, this feels like a legitimate retailer, but I'm not certain. And am I going to be making a mistake in haste?
Yeah.
So
I'm interested to see. Are you going to still try to find other ones in the meantime?
Oh yeah, I'm assuming this doesn't count.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then if I get another one and it comes through, obviously we have us and our friends who will want one. I'm like, I'm not worried about getting stuck with 2 PlayStation 5s, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Nick, have you been trying? Have you been trying at all since like the first?
Yeah, a little bit. I feel like it's kind of. I haven't had a lot of time, but regardless of that, I feel like it's a little bit of a lost cause, and I don't think I'm gonna have much luck. I'm not finding as much fun in the hunt as Brian is.
Yeah, but he loves it for some
reason.
reason.
At a computer, he's like, let's do it every morning.
At this point, I don't even care about getting it for like the games. Like, just the hunt is fun. It's just like, I mean, how often you be like, all right, guys, go. We got 10 minutes now. Like, there's so few things in life that are like that, like level of like actual like time.
It's like some people fly out to like Africa and hunt animals and stuff and endangered animals. You hunt PlayStation 5s.
Yeah, let's compare those two.
It's a good comparison. Morally different things, but
no one's gonna get mad at my big game hunt.
No one's gonna get mad at your big.
But I'm probably not gonna get canceled on the internet for having.
Well, apparently you can survive that too. So it's apparently not that big of a deal.
Well, I think Vegas odds are better than trying to hunt for a PlayStation 5. It's just like bots and everything.
I mean, like a roulette's like 50-50, man. It's like 49.
Well, not everything on roulette is 50-50.
You can go on eBay and buy a PlayStation 5 for $1,000. Let's just saying, like, it's there.
Well, I mean, what's to guarantee you actually get it? You still don't really know, right?
Well, I mean,
did you guys see the post about
anyone know anything?
There's a eBay post that said this is a piece of paper with a PlayStation 5 on it.
Those bothered me so much that I legitimately reported everyone I saw. I have never done that in my life. I reported all those posts because I'm like, this is stupid. This is like a half meme, but someone's half like, hey, I just need one stupid person who then it's like one piece of paper as is, no refunds. This, and you're like,
this is piece of paper. Can't get mad at me. You bought it. Yeah. Kind of
stuff. It's like pathetic little legalese. But I'm like, I actually went. I've never done that. Like report a listing. I was like, this is some bullshit. Like, I saw a thing though that there was what was the last Xbox that came out?
One.
Xbox One.
Yeah, so there was something about there was a huge rise in people buying the wrong Xbox, or they think they're buying the Xbox Series X.
Yeah.
And I mean, someone else that made a good point. They said it's actually likely that the bots just forgot to update their scripts buying old stuff because there's this like huge influx of this Xbox being bought. And you're like, oh, a lot of people are probably buying this on accident.
Yeah.
I forget that happened on one site when you go in to buy, like if you put in PlayStation 5, it kind of all pops up consoles related to PS4. And if you just weren't paying attention enough, I could see someone accidentally being like, ah, crap, I just bought a PS4 again.
Or you get it from your grandma, and she's like, "I got you a PS5. I worked so
Right?
hard," and you can't like disappoint her. You're like, "Oh, thanks, grandma."
You know what would be the funniest thing if they did like an Xbox Classic at the same time they sold that. Just like grandmas all over the world are buying Xbox Classics.
So is the next Xbox going to be the Xbox Series X, but it's EX?
Mm.
Like
Plus
that's
Alpha.
going to be their next gen. Their next gen.
I don't know what Microsoft's doing, man. They're crazy people. We could talk about that
Yeah.
too.
They're making smart.
They got that. That goes
Yeah, they're
on to a
making
new
smart
thing.
business moves. Yeah.
What they bought the whatchamacallit?
Bethesda.
You'll get there. Just keep at it.
The Dooms and the Skyrims and
The
Bethesda.
Bethesda.
the Bethesdas and the
Yeah.
Zentricnix, whatever Zenix. I don't Zen something. I don't know what it's called. It's the one that does Elder Scrolls Online.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Which they apparently, from what I heard in claims and stuff, is that they're not going to do exclusives with it. They aren't planning to do that, but that doesn't make any sense.
I don't think there's any way they're gonna do exclusives at all. Actually,
Really?
definitely not. Definitely not with Bethesda. I don't think there's any way. Like the Elder Scrolls line, they're not gonna do exclusive with that. This is a sole reason to just put it on their Game Pass. So now they could say we have all the Bethesda games on our Game Pass. More reason to buy our Game Pass. Because I think they make quite a bit of money off of that. And I don't think it's like completely out of the ordinary that they're with Microsoft and they did this because they've been working with Bethesda's been working with Microsoft for like a long time. Like apparently, like Morrowind was first released on Xbox. They worked with the original Doom engine. Like they've been doing like lots of stuff with them like the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I think it was kind of like a natural like partnership.
So they already had like a pretty good pre-existing relationship.
I think that I think so. Yeah, and from what I understand, and I think it's just more competition because we saw when we talked about last week with PlayStation possibly merging the PlayStation Now and the PS Plus accounts, so you get pretty much what the Game Pass is right now. And so it's just more competition with having this online catalog and who can have the better online catalog because everybody's going to pay a subscription for it if you can get a good catalog of games.
Right. I don't
Microsoft wins because it's on computer too. So you can get a pass and play all the games on computer if you want.
I would say if I was a teenager or if I was a parent who had a kid, like the Game Pass seems to be a very good value for like what you actually get. I mean, because like the PlayStation Plus, I mean, I have it. I honestly like it more as having the backup mechanism that if my PlayStation just blew up, once I reconnected a new PlayStation, I would have all my save data and I wouldn't lose anything from that. The games I get, they're fine. They do some things, but it's not like what you end up paying for it per year. Is it like worth it? I don't really know, but I still do it. But like the Game Pass, you're like, oh, this is like when they showed like all the other next gen games you would just have access to. You're like, oh, this feels like real value now to actually have it. So,
yeah, it's like a video game streaming service, though, right? I mean, basically that's what it is. It's
oh, there goes. That was longer than normal though. It's usually 40 minutes. It seemed like a little longer. Because I don't think he's dropped since I've been on, and that was a little bit before 6.
Yeah, I think it has something to do when you're streaming. Because I don't ever drop.
I don't know how, but it would add
no
up.
idea. Yeah.
I mean,
no, and it could. Yeah, I don't know.
Discord
it could
doesn't
be when
use
we're actually
anything from me to host this video call. I would think.
No, it could be when we all get in video together.
Yeah, maybe
when
that's
it happens.
Although I do have constantly 3 to 4 people in a Discord video call, and it doesn't do this, so.
No. It's clearly something on my end. My software is having something weird happen with that, but
don't
I
blame
don't know.
maybe
maybe
me, Brian.
What's
when
that?
I play WoW, and if I have WoW open and I have like and Discord and like a web browser open, if I'm looking something up, WoW will crash on me. But only if I have those 3 up at the same time. Otherwise,
I don't have anything else up. Yeah, I close it all for this, but it's always 40 minutes. I've even looked to see if there was a setting where it's kind of like you have like the idle timer where it's like, oh, every 40 you click, because it's so consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like
that would make sense, an idle timer. Because you don't
I've
really
looked for
click
it in
on
the
anything,
settings.
right?
No, I'm literally sitting here. I have a pen in my hand that I was twirling.
I'm
Like,
so
wasn't
glad
even
you
touching my
showed me the
system.
pen because I would have thought maybe it was a metaphor. But
Yeah. No. See.
yeah,
See, you got it.
Mark,
but
as you were saying about the Game Pass, so I tried the Game Pass which is the PS Now for the PlayStation, and I liked it. They had all the exclusives plus like a whole bunch of extra games, which they're going to expand when the PS5 comes out too. So it gives you a lot of variety, and then you might not have to buy updated games. Like you wouldn't. I didn't have to buy Spider-Man if I didn't want to because it was just there. And like
did I have
Horizon
to
Zero
buy
Dawn.
Spider-Man? I don't even know. I don't know. I mean, I've had the
Yeah.
Plus for so
Well,
long, but I don't
Did you
think...
did you spend money on it,
Yeah.
Mark, to buy Spider-Man?
Yeah.
So yeah, you had to do it. It's fine. You was
It wouldn't like if I
it was
didn't
good
have
money
to.
well spent.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
I'll tell you what.
75% through that game, the main campaign at least.
Yeah.
So where all the stuff's happening on the Riker Island and raft and stuff, that's where I'm at currently. And I did most of the side quests and side content so far. There's just like a handful of crimes I haven't done, but
Okay, so you're moving like through each of the boroughs. You're doing all like the 5. Okay.
yeah. So then next week we can talk about it a little bit. So
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
because that would be one scratched off.
One last thing I want to say about the Game Pass is what's something that Microsoft has more than PlayStation. Microsoft, you download all the games on your Game Pass. If you want to play a game, you download it, and it's there on your computer. PlayStation, half the games you can download, half the games you can't. You have to stream. And when you stream a game, it can be really kind of laggy and slow,
Really?
depending on. Yeah. That's a little frustrating. So I hope when they update it, when they bring out the PS5 and they have the PS Plus combined updated, whatever nonsense, I hope you don't have to stream games, because that would be unfortunate.
Yeah, there's no
tried it a
way I
couple
would do
times,
any
it didn't work.
streaming at all with video games. I don't want a Stadia. I'm not encouraged to do anything like that. So I didn't know that. To be honest with you, I didn't know much about PlayStation Now. I only had PlayStation Plus. I barely touch my PlayStation outside of like a few games that come out for it, and I'm mostly on my PC. So you guys know a lot about consoles that I don't. You guys are the console dorks, and I'm the PC awesome
I think
person.
Brian's more than I am, but I much prefer sitting down and playing a console than I do at my computer. I really like just hanging out and playing on a console.
Well, I like
it's nostalgic, maybe, or I don't know.
I like it more in quarantine because I'm already at my desk for work for so much that, and I share my work desk and my home desk. It's all the same. So when I'm console, it like forces me to go to another room, and then I feel like,
It
life is
separates
slightly not completely repetitive, where we'll talk about it later, but I was doing some like emulation. I'd like work all day, and then I was playing that at my desk. So in the end I was like, oh my God, I've been in this room all day.
Yeah, no, I get you. No, that makes perfect sense to me. I do like playing on a console, but there's something about being on a PC and having like everything available to me too, and then like I don't know.
Oh, so it's the opposite. Actually, you know what? I like the opposite of that. I like having the selected games, so I don't feel like that the immensity of everything you can play. Instead of being like, I get one thing, I can do one thing, and we're good.
Yeah.
Like I actually like that, like the partitioning of that. But
yeah, maybe I don't really. I don't know. I get your point. Your point makes perfect sense, and I do enjoy that too. I do like just to sit down there and just kind of play through games, and then like forget about everything else. I don't have to worry about the world. I just, I'm right here. I don't have Twitter pop up and tell me that some orange munchkin is trying to ruin the world. It's just a completely different situation. And all I think about is, this game has haikus in it. That's cool. So.
I will say one thing I like about PC gaming now, which changed like 10 years ago, is like now when I do PC gaming, no matter what game I play, I don't have to worry about what am I looking at? Like crashing issues, compatibility issues. And you just constantly have to adjust to make games work. For the most part, I mean, I have a pretty solid rig, so everything's going to handle every modern game anyway. But I can just install a game and play it. I never have to do fiddling, which is why I historically always love consoles. Like I buy a game, I put it in, and it works. Now, I mean, sometimes you might have like scratching or some other weird thing, but it's like I don't have to deal with stupid like
Unless
troubleshooting
you have an older
crap. Like,
PS4.
I do enough troubleshooting in my own life and in my job. I don't want to fix technical problems.
Yeah.
When I'm playing games, I just want it to work.
Nick, you have some issues with the PlayStation every once in a while, right?
Me?
Well, no, his PlayStation's older. Yeah, he doesn't have the Pro.
He has an OG.
Yeah, I've had some times where, it overheats or I think it's gonna explode sometimes when it runs because the fan runs so high, it sounds like it's going to explode. But there's also something weird with the controller. Sometimes if the controller comes unhooked, because it doesn't charge, I have to keep it plugged in the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
If it comes unhooked, it can freeze the PlayStation, and then the only way to fix it is to restart the PlayStation and then let it sit for a while, and then it's okay.
Okay.
So I do have some console issues right now, even though I prefer the console.
Yeah, the Switch, I had some issues with the controller, the drift that a lot of people have.
I luckily never had that issue.
Animal Crossings. Yeah. When we were playing it.
Animal Crossings when it started to be really noticeable. It was really bad. Like I'd have to hold up to go left or something. It was just like it doesn't really feel right anymore. So I switched over to a different controller. It was fine, but.
Did like the Pro controller solve that, or
I can't remember if I don't think I played on the Pro one. I think I just did a different nunchuck and it was fine.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I've never noticed it, but I've almost exclusively played with a Pro controller, so I kind of forget about the little guys.
Yeah,
I tried both with Animal Crossings, and they both had weird.
Something with the joystick, they just fudged up. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh well. All right, so Bethesda, now Microsoft, not really that big of a deal, but it gives a little bit of gloat power to Microsoft, really, and that's about it. If they make Elder Scrolls 6 exclusive to Xbox, that would kill all sales it would hurt the sales for Skyrim, but Xbox would shoot straight up. Or not Skyrim, but Elder Scrolls.
I don't know. That's why I don't think that they would do it. I think that the game's so well known and everybody wants to play it that they're not going to restrict their community so much. I just don't think that's going to happen.
Well, they said, what did they say? So they're going to honor all the contracts currently available for stuff that's cross-console, but they're going to take it on a case-by-case basis. I would assume on their end, right? Because porting another game over the system might be a lot of work and time and effort and money, and they might want to do that balancing act. But for something like Elder Scrolls, maybe they keep it, they want to put it on every system that exists. Fitbits in 10 years probably going to have Skyrim. Probably in 5 years, I'll have Skyrim installations on it. But they might just do it exclusive to keep it. But from their perspective, if I had Game Pass and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I can now download your entire library instantly, I'd be like, oh, this is sweet. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And one thing I don't think will happen, which would still piss people off, but not as much, is if they came out with the next Elder Scrolls game and every system had it, but maybe, I don't know, maybe Xbox has some cosmetic stuff that you can buy, some skins and stuff like that. That's exclusive to them and nobody else.
Yeah.
I could see maybe something like
Spider-Man or something,
Right.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, no, what is that? Avengers?
Yeah, Avengers got Spider-Man on PlayStation 5 or whatever.
Yeah.
Or PlayStation.
Which upset people.
Yeah. I think that if I was an Xbox person, I would understand being more pissed about the PlayStation exclusives because there's some really good games. But me, if they do exclusive, I'm like, I'll just play it on my PC because they're not going to lock that this is only a PC game. If you want to play Spider-Man, you're going to play it on a PlayStation. You're not going to get a PC port of it.
Yeah, it wouldn't feel right.
Yeah, they don't have it. So.
All right. Well, whatever. Who cares about that anymore? On to the next topic. Done. So this is what I want to talk about. I did talk about it a little bit last week. It's kind of a sensitive topic. I figured we might as well have a sensitive topic on here.
Go on.
Which is the Hogwarts game and everything. And I follow a lot of stuff in Twitter, in the Twitterverse. Yeah. And there is a lot of people saying basically you're a horrible person if you support this game at all. Because it goes to J.K. Rowling, and there's so many people who And I understand it's one of those issues where a lot of people, see this as something that's hurting their community, and so people still being like, whatever, okay, we'll buy it, and then wanting to hate those people because you think that somehow that correlates with hating that community. I want you guys to talk on this so I can dodge the bullet completely here.
So I think that it's like really unfortunate for Portkey Games. I feel bad for them because they've came out and they've said, "Hey, she had nothing to do with this. That this is set in the Harry Potter world, so obviously it's going to have something to do with her creation. But this is something we created. She wasn't a part of it." And I mean, they've been in works with this game for a long time, so you can't help but feel bad for them, putting all this work into it and wanting it to be really successful, and then your headliner for the whole universe just starts dropping all of these things that are offending trans people everywhere, and then you have to deal with that backlash.
It's pretty rough, and basically, and there's like no in between. People are taking it very seriously, where they will consider anyone buying this game someone who is against trans rights, and that's how it's being equated right now. And it's like, do you value wanting to play this game more than what groups of people are feeling right now? So it's a hard position, because this is something that a lot of people like. I kind of grew up with this. I didn't really grow up with it. I mean, the books came out as I was a teenager and kind of growing up, so it's a part of my life, and I have happy memories and great memories and everything, and there's lots of good things with it. And now just all of a sudden the author wants to be a piece of shit on Twitter, and so anything related to this thing that was a part of my life is now horrible because it supports her in some way and gives her money in some way. And so it's difficult. I don't know. Brian, what do you think?
Oh, so right, it's such a difficult proposition, because it's, on one hand, you try to separate like the creator from the content, because the content themselves don't necessarily, maybe sometimes they do, and it's a little more obvious where they subconsciously are attacking the group in the content versus what the creator's actually saying, but they aren't necessarily one and the same. I generally will always say, because we live in a hyper-capitalistic system, the most powerful thing you can do, vote. I mean, obviously, voting is powerful, but it's more powerful on a local level than a national level. But your dollars spent has more power than almost anything you can do. For example, like, I will not eat at Chick-fil-A. For what they did years ago.
That's basically like kind of the same thing,
yeah,
right?
And I came out pretty hard on it, and like we have coworkers who like jokingly call it, like, we'll call it the hate chicken. They're like, yeah, I'm eating it, hate chicken, like, it's so good. I'm like, yeah, it's unfortunate, their food is pretty good, but not touching it, like, won't touch it. So how do I feel about the Harry Potter one? I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, what she said was horrible and disgusting. And then right, so the studio comes in, like, she doesn't have any, you're trying to do this separation, but sometimes I don't know, like, it's almost becomes a gut check, right? Because there's certain works, like, okay, here's another one, Orson Scott Card, right? Like, I grew up loving Ender's Game and sort of his work. And if you ever, so he's a science fiction author, I don't know if you're familiar with him.
No.
And then if you read his later stuff, he's kind of a fucking monster, like, as a person. But his stuff also was so bad in a way that I can't read his stuff anymore. Like, I can't even separate the stuff. And I don't know how I'm going to feel about it when the game comes out. I was really interested in that conversation. It's like,
I mean, it's
like, how much do you like the chicken? How important is it to you? Like, and it kind of sometimes really comes down to the values that you want the world to exist. How much, like, for those to exist, you have to have some kind of sacrifice and cost to it. And what are you willing to put in to help fight it? And sometimes I think not putting your money into that is valuable, but it's also like, sometimes it's just worthless. It's not doing a lot of things, but I don't know where I sit on it. It's just, but there are other places that's, I think, much more obvious for me as a person to be like, I'm not giving them any money. So, I mean, another one's like for actually another economic one is like Walmart and Amazon. I try not to buy from them because Walmart was accelerating this process for years of just absolutely destroying small town communities across the whole country.
Mm-hmm.
They would move in, low prices, completely decimate every small business, and then they would not make money and they'd leave, and they would just completely economically ravage systems. And so I'm never giving Walmart any money. They don't. It's not even like they take care of their employees, which they don't. And they don't do all these things. They have just all these practices. And then I think of Amazon, which is slowly like eliminating all consumer markets. And it's like, shit, if I keep getting the money, which COVID actually just accelerated that even, accelerated by years. So I don't know, but if we're going to live in a capitalistic system, you have to be hyper conscious of your money, because your money is one of, if not the greatest power source you actually have.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's the same thing like that happened with Blizzard and the Hong Kong movement and everything else, right? And we all make these choices and we say, all right, well, this is what I want to do. This is something that makes me happy. But if I do it, then I'm in some way funneling money towards things that I am completely against. And that's so hard to do. It's so hard to like know all the different things, but when it's right in front of your face, then you're like, well, now I need to make this decision. I need to make these choices. And
it's one of those like side things. There was the NBA, right? So the NBA now has a real big presence in China. So there's a lot of money to be made in China. And there was the GM for the Houston Rockets. Basically, he just sent a simple tweet out believing in the Hong Kong protests. Well, of course, China freaked out and just went hard at him. And so the NBA did, because they're like, we're going to pull all this stuff out. We're going to lock you out in the NBA as you hear. So there's like a huge financial hit. And the NBA essentially caved. And part of me, what I kept thinking of why that bothered me and why it bothers me now is there's a lot of, Google's done it. There's a lot of American big capitalistic systems that have caved to China, because we can all fairly agree China's system of self-censorship, governorship, ownership is everything that's like not American. Yeah. And they're all caving because for money. And it's not like we're using that money to fight it and try to make China a more open, an open society, an open system. They're just taking the money and then pulling it in here. And it's sort of like, it's some hypocrisy of bullshit. I'm like, man, you actually have a chance to fight on a global stage to assert sort of like open democratic values. And instead it's like, just take the money, and it's, I don't know.
It's hard. It's hard to
really hard.
Especially when companies hit this point to where they're depending on just making money. That's all they're there to do anymore. They're not making good video games. They're not trying to make good products. They're trying to just make money. They're just money machines after a certain point. A good amount of companies do that. And they do that by saying, oh, we have quality products and so on. And sometimes, they make quality stuff, but other times it's about how can they squeeze out, do a little bit and get a lot of money for the shareholders who are, a part of the company.
Well, right, because that's the inherent structure of the corporate structure that's gone public. That's what it does. And I remember, so my company used to be public, and they sold it to a private equity firm. And at some point, I remember before we were sold, our CEO made a statement about I'm going to frame it incorrectly, but essentially the most important people from their perspective is the shareholders. And they flat out told the company that, which when you're the company, you're like, hey, I'm right here. It's like your dad telling you, like, the other people are most important. You're like, but Dad, we're right here. But, and then when you have this inherent corporate structure that has to be profit driven, right? So if you're trying to get shareholders, right? So if I gave you money, I'm expecting more money in the return on that. So to do that, you have to increase your growth, right? So you become this, like, every company will essentially fail because it has to keep growing more growth, but there's only so much market that exists. So eventually it's like it just eats its own tail. And so you have this inherently self-defeating process that outside of a monopoly that can control everything, which is where we're going to end up getting at. This is what you get stuck with. It sucks, because you have to have, I've always wondered this, right? If we were running a company and we were making a very good profit and being very fine, and next year you're like, we made 30% profits. Let's go through our random number. And then next year you're like, well, we gotten 29% profits, but we're really shooting for 40. And you're like, are you just making increases up? Like, what does this even mean? Like, we're doing really good.
Mm-hmm.
And instead it's, well, our growth wasn't what we thought we should have been, which was determined by the previous year growth, but it's against itself. And then it becomes this philosophy of like, well, we failed. And you're like, but we're still doing really well. I don't understand this. But that's the mechanism of shareholder profits.
Yeah.
It sucks.
There's some economics for everybody listening today. I hope you enjoyed that part. But I do think that it all kind of does come back to, are we going to buy a video game or not, which is so weird. But, I mean, obviously, I believe all three of us are highly in support of people being whoever they want to be, doing what they want to do. And if this game is actually going to be an icon that goes against that, then maybe I need to just make the choice of fuck it, there's other video games to play. Which kind of sucks because I was a little excited for it, but I mean, I don't have that perspective. I need to respect people who do. So
yeah, and JK could get worse, could get better.
Yeah, she could be. She could just eventually drop writing and start.
No, she has a book that's coming out. Either was released now or coming out last week because it's under her Robert Galbraith, I think.
But it's something like thing, or something.
But it's like the main. I'm gonna screw this up, but it's like the main character is a trans person who's a serial murderer.
Yeah, I think it's something like that.
It's like, could she be more on the nose? Like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that me personally, when it comes to this stuff, I think that I typically just avoid it if it's questionable, which has happened to me like a lot in the music industry too. I think like one of the most dividing topics is like, do you listen to Michael Jackson? And like, how do you feel about that? Because he was such like an iconic person for such a long time. But with all the Me Too stuff, I've had actually a few musical artists that I really liked that like I just don't feel comfortable listening to. And maybe I'm not giving them money if I listen to them, but I feel like I'm supporting them in some way. So when in doubt, like in a case like this, if there's a video game where I'm supporting it, I'm supporting this community that I don't want to support, this anti-trans community I don't want to support, even if it wasn't economic, I might still not do it. I would feel guilty personally doing it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I am excited for the game. I wish it was good. And maybe if it just wasn't Harry Potter, because it looks like it could have like a lot of really cool things in it.
It looked like it could have been a cool expansion onto a universe that we all knew and we grew up with and we love. But at the same time, kind of need J.K. Rowling not to be a piece of shit right now. Which, like I was saying, Hitler gave up art. Maybe she'll give up writing and she'll do her own thing. I don't know.
Well, Hitler gave up art and then when did his thing. So maybe we should have kept him as an artist.
Right.
Well, I was saying, yeah. What I was saying was like she could turn into a real person. But anyways, I figured it was worth talking about.
Yeah. But I'm with you, Mark. I have the undying philosophy of I don't care. You can be whatever you want to be in life. It doesn't matter. Just don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
Like,
return your
grow
shopping
up,
cart. Yeah.
Just grow up to be whatever you want to be, whatever the hell you want to identify that is. Just don't be an asshole.
Yeah, no.
That's it.
Because it's such a sticky situation when we start talking about that
right.
too. Because you're like, well, do whatever makes you happy. That doesn't mean you should go murder children or something.
Yeah,
right?
terrible.
So,
yeah.
My,
like, oh, that would make you an asshole.
Yeah. And so my
but like whatever like job you want to have, whatever gender like you prefer, it doesn't matter any of it. Like be whatever you want, just don't be an asshole.
Yeah, it's just like be happy and reasonably try not to make other people unhappy. Don't make it an effort. Your happiness shouldn't be destroying the net happiness over the world.
Sounds like an asshole.
Yeah. Anyways. On to this. I figured we'd talk about. You put it in there, and like you guys were excited for it. I don't know why I wasn't that excited for it. I was just like, it's just a survey. Why are you guys so excited about this survey here? Yeah.
I didn't watch the video that explained
There's a video?
who they were and how they came up with their algorithms and stuff. But it did seem like they put a bit of effort into what they were doing. It wasn't just like a quick Facebook survey or something like that. It seems like they were genuinely trying to help the gaming community figure out based off of what their favorite games are, or just what their selected games are, what they could play next. And I've seen music programs do similar things. But I thought it was really cool. I thought it was a lot of fun.
I didn't feel like it did great for me, but it did great for
Mark,
you guys.
do you want to explain what the survey is? Because if someone just walked in, they would be really, really confused what you were talking about.
You know what? It's not. I didn't find it, so I'm going to let you explain it, Brian, because it was your thing.
Okay. So someone shared it with me, and they actually shared the board game version of it because they have two of them, and it's an analytics company, and their goal is, if you are a designer on front level, to try to find the users that they think would want to find your stuff. So from this, they've developed all this interesting preferential data that tries to be more qualitative. Like, I'm a player who likes these games, right? And so from an analytical point of view, it turns out like maybe you like games that have, it's not necessarily like, it turns out you like games like mood and theme are actually more important to you than, say, mechanics of a game, or etc. So anyways, he sent it to me, and I took the list because I'm generally really curious. However, like the analysis is run on it, because I'm sort of like, that's why I come in and do multiple tests, because I just want to test it. I'm like, okay, what kind of inputs do I get out on this? But I will say, for the board game side, when I did it, I was like, oh, actually, this is a pretty spot on list, because I have games that aren't really related to, it's one thing to say like, I love Super Mario Brothers and I love, Ori and the Blind Forest. You're like, all right, you love platformers, so I'm just going to recommend the top 10 ranked platformers in the world. But I put all over the games, did the test, and I was like, wow, this isn't perfect, but this is actually not bad. That if I met you and you said, here, go check out these 5 board games, I was like, oh, that's okay. That's a pretty, those are good recs. So I did the video game one, and I was like, this isn't bad. Like, this is actually pretty solid for stuff that I should check out. And so, of course, I took that and then I sent it to you. I didn't give any context behind it. I just dumped it. I love it. You freak out like, Brian, is this a Facebook quiz?
That's what I looked. Because I'm like, all the time I see it pop up, like either it's on Twitter. I don't check Facebook enough to know if it really checks it. I see it on Twitter.
It's not. Yeah, and I was like, this is a legit data analytics website. I'm not sending you to some flash bullshit.
Yeah. So,
I was
like, what character are you in this story? No.
Yeah. Hey, sometimes that's like kind of fun.
Or like that.
I thought
that Snapchat
it did
thing
a better.
That has like the filter that scrolls through the things or whatever. I don't know.
Snapchat has filters.
No, I don't know what it's called. There's something that like says, I'm looking at your face and I'm comparing you to superheroes and you're this superhero. Or something.
Oh, I haven't done that one. I would totally do that. Those I think are fun.
Dorks. What were you saying, Nick? Sorry.
Oh, I think that this engine did a better job than like my Steam recommendations.
Yeah.
It seemed like it was more spot on. In fact, I think it was a complete coincidence. But I sent a message to you guys. I did Nier Automata for all 3 choices that you get to put in for your games. And the number 1 choice besides Nier, I just pulled up the game. I hadn't heard of it. And it was just a picture of a butt, like a girl with a butt. And I was like, okay, well, they know it. They get it. These algorithms are really deep.
Yeah. Goose Pilot likes your take on what you just said, so just letting you know that what you said was a good take, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very supportive.
Actually, do someone want to pull up the link? I'm curious. We should put the link in chat.
You guys do it, because if I do it, it'll mess up cameras.
Fine, I'll do it.
Oh my god, you're gonna get banned. Hold on. Tell me, type in chat real quick. I don't actually know what your handle is. I can't remember. Is it Orpheon?
Yeah, it's Orpheon 28.
28?
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't just click on every link, Mark?
Huh?
You don't just click on links that people send you?
No. I have it to where you get timed out as soon as you put a link in there, unless if you're a mod or I think subs can get it or something, because at least back in the day, it was common for people to post porn or post some other random hack sites and, I don't know, what do you call them? Water holes and stuff and all that stuff in there.
Oh,
Mukbang. That's what it's called. I've been thinking of it the whole night. It's called mukbang. That's when you eat like a lot of food.
I thought that was a streaming thing. That's not a...
No, it's not bukkake. It's mukbang.
Bukkake is not that.
I got it right this time.
I'm so glad you brought that up. Thanks.
Yeah.
So before the
I can
show,
sign off now.
before the show, and that's apps.quanticfoundry.
Foundy.
But to explain Nick's like random outburst here, before the show, he was trying to find the word for people who eat fast food until they throw up. Is that what it was?
Not till they throw up. Just they eat like a whole bunch of food.
Okay.
And I've seen a lot of videos where it was fast food.
Okay. So what you said was something that was popular in Korea, I think, at first, if I remember right. And basically it was just streaming them eating food. They would order a lot of food, like a hot pot and stuff and everything, and they would just sit there and talk about my day and talk about their day. How are you? And while they're eating. And that became kind of popular, and that was something that happened in America a little bit too. And it still happens. Just chatting, the section that we're in doing this podcast has plenty of people just sitting there eating and talking to people, or other things, and talking to people. But that's how that all got popular. I didn't relate it to eating lots of fast food though, so I don't know if that's the right word still.
Fast food?
I'm just saying these are the YouTube videos that I saw.
Okay, okay, maybe I can. So you actually go out and actively watch YouTube videos of people eating lots of fast food.
There was an embarrassing point in my life where I did, yeah.
Was it mostly mukbang?
It was
ASMR. Were you like bouncing back and forth?
You had
or the
to,
mukbang probably connected you to the ASMR eaters, yeah.
It was always ASMR mukbang. It was never any. You always had to have ASMR in there, because I think you can find everything on YouTube ASMR style. Regardless of what you put in there, just type in ASMR. There's somebody doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic.
Same thing with Twitch.
Yeah.
And they have the special mics too that like have the little ears on the side. You just kind of
the binaural mics.
We're old people. People watching this stream already know everything about what we're saying, and we're acting like this is some new fancy thing, but this is something that's been out for so long. Friends of Backlog. So thanks for the survey. I took it, and then I didn't put too much value in what they gave me, because I mean some of it was like I don't know, it was kind of spot on for some things, but I wanted more story related things, and I don't feel like I put BioShock in there. Of course, BioShock's one of those games I love, so a lot of games that were like BioShock. Then there was like Doom and Half-Life, and I'm like, yeah, I like these games, but I don't think they define me in any way. Like I have like a lot of
You're not. The survey is not to climb like you're climbing the top of the Himalayas to find the monk to give you the secret to your soul.
I thought
Mark.
it would.
It's
man.
just a handful of games that it thinks you're probably gonna like these. They're gonna fit your style.
Okay.
You can't be disappointed that it didn't like absolutely give you the change your life.
I thought it was going to change my life.
I love it. You're like, you know what? Wasn't perfect. Absolute trash. You're such a harsh critic.
I'm going to open the door for my pup, because my wife left with my other pup, and I'm going to let this pup walk around real quick. So hold on. You guys keep talking.
So I put in 3 Resident Evil games.
Yeah.
And it popped up Last Guardian. Like, I want to know why it did that.
Well, you changed. So I was curious too. I changed mine, and it didn't change as much. I think the way that the weighting on your preferences was so much higher than the games that you would pick.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too.
Anyways,
it just caught me off guard. I didn't expect it.
I figured it was worth talking about because it was interesting.
Well, yeah, and I was really curious because that's why I did it, and I was like, I'm curious what your guys'
So let's go ahead and say what your games were real quick, so everybody knows what games it says that you should be playing. Let me see. I'll look it up on my phone, because my phone I can look it up Discord and not mess up the cameras.
So I can go first. I think what game? Oh, I don't even know what games I actually put in. I think I know.
It's in the post you put on the Discord, right? I can read it off for you.
Did I say what?
Yeah.
It's
okay,
near.
no, I got it. So it was
okay.
No. The one earlier than that was like the real one.
Oh,
I think I put in The Witness, Braid, and Talos Principle.
Yeah.
Those were your top 3?
And that was like, Yeah, and that was like spot on. It was hilarious that Steve's sausage roll came up as like number one. It makes
Yeah.
sense because I get it, but like I just didn't expect to see it there.
Mm-hmm.
And like all the other ones like Antichamber, Fez, Stanley Parable, Limbo, Inside Portal, Meat Boy, Oberdin, all those ones like made sense. It all completely fit everything I love.
Nice. All right, Brian. Brian, what you get?
So the games that I put Spider-Man. So it was like most recent. What was it? The question was recent games that you loved, and I put Spider-Man, Last of Us 2, Ori and the Blind Forest, and Sekiro.
Mm-hmm.
So those are my 4. But like my number 1 game was Braid, right? Which is one of my all-time favorite games. Which is I think pretty impressive because from what I put in there. But it was like Braid, Grim Fandango, The Witness, Disco Elysium, which we just played, and we'll talk about here in a bit. The Talos Principle, Firewatch, What Remains of Edith Finch, Night in the Woods, Stanley Parable, and Planescape. And Planescape is basically people are like, if you love Disco Elysium, the only game that's ever come out close to it is you need to go back and play Planescape.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, that's like if I just met someone, you know, like if you know how if you go to like when you're a kid or you meet a friend or you go to like a person, you're like, hey, I want to play a game and I like this. You're kind of looking for a sage to give you some advice. If I went to any random person and just had a conversation and they gave me this recommendation, I'd be like, this is a good person who pretty much gets me. And if, you know, there's a ton of games that I absolutely love that have that are nothing like this list. But if this list gives me this recommendation, then I know it knows something about me. So the recommendation can be taken seriously.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So if I told you my list was Uncharted, Doom, Uncharted 4, Uncharted 2, Titanfall 2, Half-Life 2, BioShock series, Battlefield 1, Cuphead, and Batman Arkham City, would you be like, yeah, this is a guy I'd like to hang out with?
Yeah.
I like how Cuphead's on there.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, Cuphead just comes out of nowhere. It's just like, it's not even related to any of it.
That's what makes it great, because it's like, I don't always platform, but when I do, I want a challenge.
Yeah, I think that's
I
what
want a beautiful challenge.
Because I did put, like, I do like some challenge, but not like a lot of challenge. There's always like, I do want some challenge in there, and I do like some competitive stuff, and so I'm thinking that's where some of these other games came in. But
like your list is all games that are all like highly recommendable, awesome games.
Yeah, but why did they have to put Uncharted series, then Uncharted 3, and then Uncharted 4? I feel like that just wasted 2 spots. They could have put something else in.
Yeah, well, they did it with BioShock. They have BioShock series. They should just put Uncharted series.
Yeah, why do they do... Yeah, it's...
I don't know. I didn't write it. Quit yelling.
Fix your shit. Okay.
I like you're upset at more at that than you are Cuphead. Like,
yeah.
Sure. But fix the series.
You know, I tried playing Cuphead and like I didn't get too far into it because I just got bored of like putting effort into it and did something else. Because it was like, it's kind of fun, but it's like, I don't know if this kind of challenge is the fun that I enjoy. If that made any sense.
Oh, I thought it was wonderful. I love
Most
Cuphead.
people
I
think
love
it's
the art.
wonderful.
I love
I'm a
the
horrible
gameplay.
person.
Yeah. I always put it in my top list of like the entire last decade.
Yeah,
for sure.
I know.
It's funny though, because if you play like FromSoft games, and those things are all basically like impossible boss battles.
But I barely got into any Dark Souls. The only FromSoft that I actually went all the way through was Sekiro. I didn't do any of the other ones. Although I respect.
Oh, you didn't do Bloodborne?
Nope, I haven't done Bloodborne yet.
Oh, Bloodborne's great.
I probably should. I'm going to do Demon Souls when that comes out, which is going to be out as soon as PlayStation 5 is out. So that's a thing.
That's a 2021 purchase. Who we kidding?
It's true.
None of us are going to get one.
Oh, that's also true. Okay.
Yeah.
So what was the other one here news-wise? There's at least one more.
You put down Dreamhaven.
I'm actually kind of, man, I don't like to be hopeful anymore. I don't like to be excited for things because I get disappointed. But the people who made WoW and StarCraft and, kind of brought it up to where it was, are making a new game studio that's what we can hope is not all the things that we hate about Blizzard right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
One could hope.
Yeah. And so
yeah,
it was kind of weird because I thought the dude was just going to retire and be like, peace. I've had my successful life. I don't need to do anything else. But then he's like, oh, I'm going to open up a new game studio or a company that has 2 studios in it. It's not just Dreamhaven is like the umbrella company, and then there's 2 studios inside of it.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any thoughts on that? I saw it and I was like, I'm a little happy, but
to use a term, it would be proof of concept or get the fuck out.
okay. Not just like we have a game company.
Yeah, it's like that's awesome. Tell me in 3 years when you got a concept,
A game.
other than having some like mythical fanboying. It's like, they made games I loved back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Can they do it again? I don't know. I hope you do. I love the world needs great games, and maybe they do that. But I didn't put much stock into it. It's just one of like, okay, these guys did a thing. Maybe in 3 years when they come out with a demo of something, we can get a little more hyped. But at this point, it's like the promise of talent, but without any kind of concept.
It's
strange. Like, what if they're like, what if they said we're gonna make a new card game? We're gonna crush Hearthstone. Like, would you care about that?
Yeah, I probably would.
You're like, I would.
Michael Morhaime. I can't say his name right. He defined a lot of my life growing up. I mean, WoW was a huge part of my life. Diablo was a pretty huge part of my life. StarCraft was a huge part of my life. And so decades have been dedicated to playing games this guy has been behind in some way. And so it does, excite me to think that this guy could be behind something. Because I did get kind of depressed because Blizzard was always that company. I was like, man, this is the fucking game company of the world. This is the best game company. They always make good games. They have great IPs. They do so many good things. Everything. They understand the stuff that I want to see, like in a video game. And there's nothing they could do wrong. And then they started doing wrong, right? And then they start kind of being shitty in their own way, and everything started to kind of slowly go downhill. And it was like one of those roller coasters where you're going down, but it's very slow, and it's never going to go back up. It's just going down to like stop.
No,
and you get
once
off.
once Activision started exerting their power, you could change. Right? It's like once their big reveal was Diablo Mobile, you're like, well, it's gone now. And then they were shocked that the whole community was like, boo.
Yeah.
And you knew at that point. I remember there was a former senior developer that used to run a company, and he said, when I saw that, he goes, that's when the money men are making the game decisions now.
Yeah.
That's how he's like, that's the moment you knew that the Blizzard that we ever know was like truly, truly dead, was right then. Because there's no developer that would be like, aren't you excited for Diablo Mobile? And you're like, yeah, no one in the entire gaming world wants this. Yeah. Let alone your centerpiece for your whole BlizzCon is going to be Diablo Mobile. Maybe open with that and then just move on.
That's kind of how I felt that's what most people felt when they heard the announcement, and then they just kept doing horrible things over and over again. And the hope that this dude who made this company that I was so happy and such a fanboy and like, Blizzard's better than fucking everyone in the world, is making another game company that isn't tied yet to, that I understand, the whole bunch of stockholders and financial. I mean, they want to make money, but it's not like all based around that. We hope right now that they're actually going to make video games that we like. It's exciting, but I don't know. You're right. Yeah. I won't know. This could be just one of those things where it's like, let's get this, and guys, I'm making a game company. See you in 5 years, and then they come out with some shit game, and it's just done, and nothing else happens. Because we've seen that happen before, or it's just like the same thing with Half-Life 3. Everyone was excited for it, and it just never came.
We did get Half-Life. It just went to VR. That Half-Life Alyx is essentially.
It's not 3. It's not.
I know, but like essentially, I still haven't played it. Did you play it?
I got through a good bit of it until I got overwhelmed with life and stopped, and then I need to get back into it. But
everyone I know who's played it's like maybe it's the game you should play, because it's like the mountaintop where you talk to the monk and it'll change your life.
It's supposed to be life.
Incredible.
It's hard for me because I can't do the full room setup for VR, and so I have to do it kind of
like you got some space behind you.
Huh?
Oh, how come? It looks like you got some space
It
behind
looks like it, but it's just barely not enough. It's
Yeah.
barely not enough. And then there's a lamp above me that I keep hitting and stuff, and
you. Get rid of the lamp.
and then I also have an issue where I can't stand just standing the entire time. And so I have to sit down while I'm playing it. And so I'm sitting in the middle of my room, and then I'm kind of like toggling going up and down with the crotch position because that's the only way that I can play it without, getting tired. Maybe I'm just an unhealthy piece of shit. I don't know. And then
You just got to build your stamina up, You'll stand for 20 minutes, and tomorrow maybe you'll stand for 21.
when I
You just keep at it, buddy.
when I worked fast food and I worked in that drive-through and stood there for 8 hours a day, I've had my. I'm not doing that anymore, man. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm gonna sit. If I can sit down, I'm just gonna sit down. I'm not gonna stand. I hated that so much.
Mark, I love you. Please don't get heart disease.
I may. My heart does hurt every once in a while, so maybe I do need to my blood. I got my blood work done recently, but it came back okay. But I don't know if
That's good.
maybe there is something wrong with my heart. I don't know. Friends with
Well,
backlog.
if your blood pressure was okay and your blood work was fine, it's probably okay.
Yeah, they didn't say there's anything wrong with my blood. They said, yeah, it's pretty much it's good. And there's nothing bad that they saw with my blood work.
Wait,
It's just standard
They
blood
didn't
work.
tell
And
you
I don't
the
know.
re-
Maybe they did miss something that you don't see. And
they didn't tell you the results. They were just like, yeah, it looks
no,
fine.
I have the results. They're
Whatever.
they're online. I can go look at them, but they're
Oh, okay.
I thought you the way you were pointing. You're like, yeah, I printed them up and I put them on my wall.
on my
Yeah,
wall.
it's on my wall right now.
right next to my online certificate from Khan Academy, and then just little
nice.
mild
Yeah.
achievements that no one cares about just everywhere.
Those I actually find more fun than my real diplomas and stuff. You're
Yeah.
like,
They're doing some certification at work right now, where at the end of it you type your name into the certification, and then it gives it to you. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, so I just certified myself by just photoshopping a certification because there's nothing. It's so. Anyways, I'm friends
I
with
have
backlog.
certifications at my work.
What?
I have certifications at my work where they'll send a PDF and be like, read this, and then go on this website and just say that you read it, and then we'll certify you in this thing. And you're like, oh, okay.
Just,
so your
anybody
first
read this
thought is the
document?
system works.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's so ridiculous. Bye, Brian.
That was. I think it's getting longer.
No, that was 50-ish, the 45 to
50.
50-ish
I thought it was
minutes.
40 before.
If anyone's listening to, I didn't post last week's audio up. I got the show up, but I on YouTube, but I didn't actually put it up on audio only podcast. I'd go to Apple and everything because I need to figure out how to do that because it all goes under Mog Talk right now, so it's kind of weird because it's here's Mog Talk, but here's just two different.
Oh.
It's
If I was a Mog Talk listener, I'd be like, what is this crap?
yeah, what is this
Like-
shit? I mean, I'm sure YouTube people are thinking that too. They're like, what the fuck is FD?
Yeah, but at least then you can feels like, you're like, oh, cue up your podcast, get ready to start doing something. You're like, oh God.
Oh, what?
Instead of just click, oh shit.
Generic,
click off.
boring
Okay.
information.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of boring guys talking.
I'm not here for
Boomers.
this.
Anyways, Friends with Backlog, Dreamhaven. I'm excited to see what they can do because I hope that when I'm 40, they'll release some game and I'm like, oh, this is my life. This is great. This is great. Which isn't really that far away.
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
Well, I hope that it's a great game for you and your heart as well.
Hope I have a good heart then. Disco Elysium. All right, backlog time. So, do you guys have any other news that you guys want to talk about?
No.
No.
Any what?
News? Any other things that we missed news-wise?
Oh.
Before we
nah,
go into
I'm-
our Disco Elysium?
Nah.
It's like,
I'm
we
good.
don't need to talk about Disco Elysium. I think we're good.
Yeah.
Wait,
think we
no,
said-
hold on. Yeah, we've said enough.
Okay.
By the way, Brian, your Disco Elysium painting that you have back there,
Yeah.
the light that's coming out behind the statue is so glaringly bright. It's awesome. It's you have a light source back there or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, like neon.
Yeah.
Well, no, because it's like the way that back is supposed to look like the sun coming out, and then there's a light source that's hitting it and making it brighter. And I left it. I was like, I actually like that. So.
It
looks good.
It's clipped off the camera, so they can't see it on stream, unfortunately. But
what?
You just got a fucking horrible camera angle, dude. I don't know what to tell you. It can't fit.
No, it's because you have us zoomed in on our face. You know, you could our face should only take up 10% of the space.
All right,
anyway.
All right.
No, Mark,
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. You know what? It's too late. I'm doing all this stuff here.
Just get rid of his face and put just the painting in.
Look at this. All right, here we go. We're gonna do this. And are you happy? Are you happy now, sir?
I never looked anyway. I want you to be happy.
I was.
My dryer
you ruined everything.
Just turned on. My dryer just turned on when Mark was like messing around with the picture, and it's this rumbling sound, so it sounded like drum roll.
Well, there you go. They should be able to see it a little bit better. I still don't got it 100% because
it's a
it just
little
doesn't fit
better,
the
but
frame.
you didn't try hard enough.
You're just not centering your. You're like off to. It's weird. Anyways, it's fine.
Oh, I can move over if you're happy. It doesn't change anything. We're talking about the painting.
You're down
not me.
like this. You're like.
I am not. It's actually literally the opposite. Now I'm gonna lean back and be like.
Yeah, you're like your chest your neck starts and you kind of maybe have some shoulders or something. I don't know.
Yeah, my shoulders. Those are some great.
Just
parts.
became ASMR. I like this.
Yeah.
See, I told you everything could be ASMR.
Yeah. Can you guys talk about Disco Elysium?
Friends of Backlog. So the point of the show is to play backlog games and try to get through them. And Disco Elysium made it onto our list, and so we're all going to talk about Disco Elysium, which is one of those games that either no one's heard of or everyone's heard of. It's kind of
nice.
I don't know. It's not like super popular, but people who know it know it.
Yeah.
I feel like. Kind of like what Nier was for a little while, maybe Nier.
I felt like Nier was a little more popular, like mainstream.
Automata made it mainstream before it wasn't.
Yeah.
But Disco Elysium is it's the story of just waking up and just figuring out things. And this is a full spoiler show, so if you haven't played it and you want to play a game where you go and click and read text all day, then please you don't need to listen to this anymore. You can save yourself and stop listening. Or if you just don't care about games that are point click adventures, then you can listen to this. Or if you've already played Disco Elysium, you can listen to this, which is kind of where we are right now. We've all played it.
I like how Mark shows his feelings when he's giving his spoiler alert.
Yeah, so
you just want to play a game where you're just reading all day or something. Yeah, whatever.
I feel bad because I was like, should I start talking about this? Well, it's a spoiler. We're talking about the game full anyway. So the game is about waking up and you're a cop, but you don't have any memory of anything, and you have all these voices in your head talking to you, and you have to kind of figure out your way through this world that you know nothing about. You don't know anything. You're just complete amnesia. So the player, yourself, of course you don't know anything about this world or the game because you're experiencing it for the first time, but neither does your character. And so you're kind of going through that experience at the same time. It also involves lots of depression, racism, annoying children, ignorance, social, economic discussions, crazy
abuse.
People who just want to party and rave all day, bad opinions, too deep opinions. It's almost the same thing as the current state of the world put into a fantasy video point and click video game that's point and click. So,
you know what it is? It's hardcore.
Hardcore. Did you make it through all his thing that made you?
Yeah. I made the church a disco.
Yeah, I did too. Oh, let me put. That's actually my little image that I have. Let me put.
I did not, because the game ended. And I didn't realize I was going to solve the game. And I was like, no, but I was just ready to get the disco going.
Yeah, you had no clue when it was going to end.
No.
I kind of suspected it a little bit with how much time I put into the game and then going to a new area with that island. And I was like, maybe this is kind of getting close to the end.
Well, and there's like almost the closest thing to a cinematic happens on that when you're going to the island and it like pans off, and I was like, ooh, this is really good.
Yeah.
This can't be the end, but it felt like it's like.
Did you play music? Like going from the island, like you get on the boat going to the island. That was the cinematic you talked about. Did you play a boombox while you were going?
No.
Oh no,
I totally did, and I feel like you're stupid if you did it. I'm sorry. It was so great. You're just like, I was just holding a boombox while my friend was kind of just making us like steering the boat, and I'm just sitting up there standing at the top front of the boat, blasting a boombox as we float onto the island, and it was
that's a pretty good like Miami Vice style.
It was. It was one of my favorite moments in the game. So
it's funny.
I don't know how different the game is from what I did versus what you guys did. I don't know how much it varies. So I'm interested to hear what you guys actually, I guess, went through and kind of some of the parts of the story, how it actually ended up for you. But I'm not going to ask you it because I don't know. I just don't know what can be different, man.
So I'm fairly certain the way that you solve the game, right? So all the points I think that's all mostly the same, but there can be lots of tiny nuance. But I think there's a lot of the side stuff that if you can engage or don't engage with, changes a lot of stuff.
Okay.
So let me ask you this. Did you both find Ruby?
Yeah.
Did Ruby immediately murder you when you found her?
Yes.
She locked
straight
me
up.
down.
Yeah,
She what?
I didn't know you had to go get Kim, and then if you get Kim, you're fine. But if you don't get him,
I had
to,
Kim
like,
with
move
me
it-
100% of the game. He was never not with me.
Oh, because okay, so when you get to that building, you climb the building, and then you go in, and then you end up going all the way down and kind of like catacombs. And I was moving through, and then she just walked through, and you just die, right? And you're like, all right, reload. That was intense. And then I died, and then I was going through again, like I died, and then I would like went back up to see like maybe I could tell Kim to come up and get me, and I didn't realize there was a door like right there.
Yeah.
I probably died like 5 times before I'm like I'm stuck.
It took me a while to figure out that he was out there
And I was
too,
like,
but I didn't
oh,
go forward because he told me. He was like, "Yeah, don't fuck around. Come get me first before you go to explore." And I was like, "I'll listen to you, Kim." He was my buddy, dude. He was my best friend.
Yeah.
So to get an idea of how well he likes me, one of my achievements was the baddest of the bad cops, and you get it by hitting an all-time low with Kim, with him hating you.
Yeah, Kim liked me a lot. I liked my buddy.
We were friends. Me and him were friends. So I'm guessing you guys all saved his life.
What do you want to do?
Right?
Save his life?
Yeah, during the gun battle?
Yeah, go on, Nick.
I don't know who died. I don't know how variant that can be. I know like I had like something like 7 people die. There was 2 people who were in the posse that lived, and then me and Kim, and that was like it.
Well, the Kim, I don't know how many people can live from that, but there is a moment I remember where like Kim is being snuck up upon, say something to warn him, and I was able to warn him.
Oh, that didn't happen to me at all. I claimed that I was the murderer. I did everything, and they shot me, and then Kim saved my life.
Oh.
Okay, so I had what happened with Mark. So in that showdown, I just ran in the middle like, I'm the police, stop doing this. Which is gonna get me shot. But the in my version, all 3 of the mercenaries were killed, and 2 of the henchmen were killed. The known ones. But Kim, here's what's funny. The first time I did that, Kim, I failed a roll check, and Kim gets killed, and Kuno becomes your detective.
Really?
What?
Guess who fucking went back on a save and replayed it? Because I hated Kuno so much that like in the top 5 happy moments of that game was me punching a 12-year-old in the face. Like, did you do that? Like, did you punch Kuno?
I don't know if I punched him. I think that
you would know. It paused up and you just full on just boom, like right in the face.
No, I didn't punch him. I gave him drugs. I gave him drugs. I didn't kill his dad, but I took drugs from his house and then I gave it to him.
I tried to kill his dad, but it was like the game's like he's too pathetic and he wouldn't. It kind of wouldn't let me. Because I was like, I'm gonna kill this guy's dad.
Yeah.
He has made a monster.
I did point a gun at the girl across on the fence, and I didn't shoot her, but I did point the gun towards her, and they didn't like that apparently.
I didn't do that, but I would have.
I got the body down fast because I shot the body down and just succeeded on the first try.
That's the one where I went back to equip everything to do the roll, and I never got that. It immediately kicked me off. I had to go talk to the boss lord, the union leader.
Wait, how did you get the body down then?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, after you do the union leader stuff, you do a quest for him. You do a couple missions for him, and then you talk to the I'm gonna call him the racist giant.
Yeah.
Who is the bodyguard? You talk to him, and
Measurehead.
he goes and rips him down.
Oh.
So I did it, but I did it before I talked to the union leader. I talked to the racist giant, and I got him to be like my super buddy, and I believed in everything that he said, and he was like the god. And then he was like, go think about this for a little bit and come back. And I just left, and I came back, and he was like, all right, I'll get that body for you.
So I roundhouse kicked the dude, and then I just walked over to the union leaders. Like at the very beginning of the game, I just kicked him in the face, and he knocked him out. And then I walked over and talked to the union guy.
I didn't even know that was possible. Yeah. That's amazing.
Because I picked the brute dude, or the fighting guy, and so I try to make all my options to be kind of physical stuff if I could.
There's a chest over there too, isn't there? If you passed him, I never got to that chest.
I never kicked him.
I didn't see it. I don't think I knew it was there. I didn't know you could use the pry bar for stuff for quite a while to open things. I just figured that some things just weren't opening when I clicked on it. But if you had the pry bar equipped, it would open.
Oh, my pry bar broke on trying to do one of those,
really?
And the game was like, you might find another one of these, but I wouldn't count on it.
I found a mega one, like a mega pry bar thing or whatever. It's like the machine pry bar or whatever that they give you to open up the ice cream cooler.
It looks like a can opener is what it looks like.
Yeah, it looks like a can opener. Yeah. I don't know. This game there's a lot of stuff that was fun with it, and most of the social economic stuff I tuned out. Like I don't know. They start talking about fascism and they start talking about communism and all this stuff. I'm like, for some reason, I just can't keep following along. I just got bored of the conversation and didn't want to keep up with it.
I thought some of that was kind of interesting, actually.
Was it?
Well, because it had a lot to do with the end of the game, too. So I feel like if I didn't really pay attention to all of it, I wouldn't figure out what the old man's motivations were. At least half of his motivations. Because at the end, it was half of it is because he was against like this kind of capitalist society that was like pushing up, and he was stuck on this island watching that, and then being fed with this cryptoid kind of hypnotism that helped him out. Also develop this like stalker sexuality towards the girl, and all of that kind of just fucked with his head, and then he killed the guy.
Which is such a weird way to end the game to me, because did you guys have that on your list of things that would happen? That an old guy would be sitting on an island being controlled by a giant insect?
I didn't expect that, honestly.
That was not my ending with him.
No?
Wait, what?
The cryptid showed up, but he had nothing to do with the guy. The guy shot him because it was like he was part of the class warfare. He didn't do it because of the
that's
cryptid.
What it said during mine, but the giant insect was a part of increasing him wanting to do it or messing with his head in some way.
I talked with him on some branch, and he was talking about his obsession with the girl and about capitalism. He talked about it both, and then he also, when you talked to Kim about it, Kim was like, I think that cryptid thing messed with him like quite a bit. I think that did something to him.
Yeah, because mine, he didn't mention the girl once. Like at all.
Wow. Really?
Yeah. Okay. Because he really didn't like that girl was having sex.
It was purely going after the mercenary because it was part of the class warfare. It was purely,
I don't know
the girl didn't even matter.
Yeah. But he also was like going in and looking in the peephole and stuff in the hotel, and he was like going.
Yeah. That's what the peephole was in the hotel where they had the pinball like elevator and stuff. It was there to like spy on her.
Well, and the way I saw it was that the peephole wasn't really a peephole. It was actually a bullet hole from because it would have been the same angle, right? The angle would have gone in. And yeah, because like if the way the bed was laid down, where he would have been standing up, the bullet would have come from the island, and it would have been in because it was on the other side. Because that's when I realized in the end, I'm like, oh, that peephole wasn't a peephole. It was a bullet hole. Because
Oh no, wait. There was a red piece of string that was tied that went through the window, through the bed to a shelf, and so
Yeah.
it would have hit in the shelf
Oh, maybe
on another wall. The peephole was on the wall where the bed was.
maybe
So
the
I don't
angles
think
of the
it was.
game don't make sense.
It's possible too.
Because like because that angle would actually make it from the shanty town where um the sniper would have shot from.
Yeah.
Instead of the island, because it was like directly due west.
Yeah.
But when I did get to the island, doors were locked and everything. And they're like, "Why are doors locked?" And it's because, well, we heard you coming because of the boot box. And I was like, "Oh, okay."
That's awesome that they wrote that in there.
Yeah, they put it in there.
Okay, so my favorite part of the game. Did you sing karaoke?
Absolutely, I fucked that up bad.
Oh my gosh.
I did not. I had one chance to sing it, and I was like, no, I'm not in the mood. I'm hungover.
Brian, you need to just watch a video of him singing karaoke just for a little. You don't stick through the whole thing.
You failed it, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah.
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 Okay.
It's just so like
It's bad.
he sings his heart out. He's so gut wrenching. It's so out of tune. He just tries so hard, and it's just like, I don't know, this emotional like pops like hairband like song that he's really trying to give to you, and it's just not happening.
Yeah.
So, speaking of the bad karaoke, when you start, the girl who was the manager of the whole like hotel hostel, she quits, and then you find out it's because of you and like your destructive behavior. Did you ever go back and keep talking to her to find out more? I kind of forgot about it because I think you're supposed to.
I never thought she showed up again. I thought she was gone forever. I did make Garrett or whoever that dude at the bar that was there, the replacement, like me. He eventually loved me, but
he hated me.
Oh, he would have hated you. Yeah. Because I ended up like meeting her and then basically telling him, hey, she's actually interested in you and it's all my fault. And they were like, I pushed them together, but I forget every time I would go to the car to call back to the precinct to report or whatever, it always had like, you could call her. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, God dang it. I wish I would have went back and called her again.
I called her.
I
called her and she was like, never call me again after I was done talking to her. So I figured out.
Maybe it does finish, but I got the impression that it was more. Maybe like day 4 she'll pick up again.
Maybe.
I ended up talking to her. I remember now, and she was like Sylvie or something like that.
Yeah, Sylvie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Sylvie.
She did not like me. She just like kind of gave me the brush off. But I was also like the type of guy who like I'd be like,
who
hey,
sang
Sylvie,
karaoke and ruined the bar.
Well, she'd be like, "What's up?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm thinking that the aliens are gonna take over next week. That's why I'm wearing a tinfoil hat." And she'd be like, "I'm not doing this again."
Yeah, it sucks kind of going through the story and just knowing that your guy did all this shitty stuff, and you're like, I don't want to be the shitty person, but apparently I did all this shitty stuff. You're showing off your gun and like showing your badge off and saying how important you are and everything, and you're like finding out all this stuff. You drove your car into the fucking frozen lake,
right?
And you're like, but that's not the character I wanted to play. I'm not making those choices. I'm making good choices. Yeah. This is.
Although, do you remember why you drove your car? What was the excuse that you drove your car into the lake?
I can't remember.
I'm fairly certain I was just drunk.
Yeah.
I think I told them that I was trying new detective techniques.
Something like that. I think I said, I don't know. Like, it kept telling me I was the sorry cop, by the way. Like, every once in a while, I'd be like, what kind of cop are you? Oh, you're the sorry cop. I'm like, no, I'm not. And I would say, no, I don't accept this.
So it's funny you say that, Mark. I was the same way when I first got to the menu that was showing you all of the different kinds of things. And I was mostly the sorry cop, which I was apologizing to Sylvie. And I was like, oh, I'm not being the sorry cop. So at that point, I was committed to becoming the superstar cop.
That's what I did. I was the superstar.
Yeah.
I tried, but I also start making decisions of like, these are things I would want to have said and want the situation to be. And then like it always went back to sorry cop. I'm like, I guess I am a sorry cop. I don't know.
How did you get to when you climbed to go to the top of the building to get Ruby? I said I teleported and it worked. I was like, I'm gonna teleport up there, and then I was like, okay, good.
Yeah.
And then he's like, no,
it's like you just closed your eyes, and you have there. He's like, whatever I teleported.
Yeah. I was hoping that the game would like have some breaking point. It was like, holy shit, you did teleport. That is like, it would just like go into this weird dialogue about how you can teleport now or something, and Like it did with the giant bug thing. Like just for some reason they're like, yeah, the giant crazy bug's real.
I was
Well, they
really
also
glad
had
it was
that
real.
hole.
Hmm?
They had the hole with it's really small like place where there's like no sound inside the church, no sound, and like things just act
Oh
weird in
yeah,
there.
yeah.
So there's like some like supernatural stuff in there, but
Yeah.
Did you guys do a lot of the quests for the cryptid, the cryptozoologists?
so
I did
I didn't
most
do
of them.
all of it, and I didn't know I didn't do all of it, but I got really upset at the end of the game because I didn't. So apparently, the cryptid at the very end of the game, if you try to approach it, you can only win that roll if you have a pheromone on it to approach it. Otherwise, you can't win the roll. So what I did was I had a save point right before I was going to talk to that cryptid at the end, and I had a 48% chance of winning. I reset it over 20 times and lost the roll every time. I got double sixes, which is supposed to be a guaranteed win, and I lost the roll and he ran away. So I looked
Wait,
it up and read it, and
did
they
you
were
guys
like,
you guys didn't actually talk to the cryptid?
I did.
"No, I couldn't because I couldn't get
Oh,
the roll." So because the game won't let even
I
if you
talked to him
get
for
a
like
perfect,
20 minutes.
no, even if you get a perfect roll, the game will not let you talk to him. It's
Oh,
impossible.
I don't think I
You
got
have
the
to have the
pheromone
pheromone.
though. I don't
The-
feel like I.
They said the only way to talk to him is if
Oh,
you have
I guess I
pheromone.
did. But
Maybe
yeah, I
I
talked
had
to
it.
him.
I don't
Like-
know.
Well, you'll
It's so
know
weird
'cause-
that like the game has rolls for like the whole game, and you think that you can like go against the odds, and this one instance in the whole game will not let you. The roll's completely useless. As
Mhm.
long as you have pheromones, you're good to go.
Well, I
Yeah.
did
Yeah,
it.
'cause you,
and dude took a picture, and then I
Yeah.
tried to do the one more option after that, but I was like, wait a minute, I gotta change my clothes. Like I pulled a Brian, and then I went out, and he just walked away. And I was like, God damn it! And so I didn't get the last option to it, but
So what did he say?
Um,
I don't know if he said anything. I think you were just trying to pet him.
no, you have like full conversations with him.
Oh, really?
Like there's like a full conversation. I'm trying to think like that he is it's weird. It's like alone and is trying to blend in. And no, you were just like, it was like dialogue trees back and forth.
I
It's
didn't.
like,
I don't think I had a dialogue with him. I think.
yeah, I
it
was like, oh, we're like talking to each other. Like,
Mm.
damn it, I wish I could.
That's pretty cool. It sounds like sad, like the rest of the game. I'm all alone. I don't have anybody to talk
Depressed,
to. I'm
yeah.
just trying to be
Yeah.
accepted.
Yeah, and it said it was easier like before like all of the industrial stuff happened, but now it's like takes this form to blend in, and
Mhm.
yeah. But you have like it was like a really sweet moment. Like I even like pet the like the tendrils.
Yeah, that's what I was
Kinda like-
supposed to do,
like-
but apparently I didn't do the option, which I had a good chance to do it. I was like, I should get a better chance, and I just fucked up.
Yeah. No, I pet. It was a success. It was
So-
really good. It was really neat.
Did you guys at the very end? Did all the cops say, "Yeah, you're an awesome cop," and they're all happy with you?
No.
No. My dudes loved me. They thought I was the best at the end.
Mine were like.
And like
Mine
Kim
were-
had to defend me, and he didn't do a good job. They basically ended the game with like, "Well, we'll see what happens."
Oh wow.
Wow, I'm sorry. Mine was great. So
Yeah. So mine was the two cops who showed up. They hated me. But Kim defended me. They were like, "We hate you, but your methods are unconventional, and damn it, you're a really good cop." Actually, one thing that bothered me in that last one is I was accused of being an alcoholic, drunk, like drinking on the job. I had one drink the whole game. I made sure I was like, no, I'm going straight. I'm not doing any drugs of any kind, but I needed something to do a roll. And I was like, well, crap, I need more. I need more physical attributes. I'm like, okay, I'll drink this beer real quick. And I drank it and passed the roll. It was great. And then after that, I was labeled a drunk. Even like,
well, I mean, they're probably
and
referring
Kim
to
was
you
like-
crashing the car into the lake.
no, it's all based on what you do during the game.
Really?
Like, because I think if you avoid, well, did they call you a drunk?
I think so. They called me a drunk. They said
If you drink once, I
unconventional,
think
yeah.
if you drink once on the job, then you get labeled a
I
drunk.
mean, I took
I got
one of.
called
I did all the
drunk.
quests. I did drugs. I did all the things that would complete all the little side quests.
because Kim told me I was a drunk, and Kim didn't know about any of the previous stuff. Like when you show up and you're like, "Man, what car is that?" Oh shit, that's my car. Like, what did I do?
That was actually kind of a sweet moment too, because like you're sitting there waiting for it to thaw or something, and then like after a while, Kim's like, "Yeah, I knew what it was all this time. I just figured I'd let you figure it out." It's
So
just
how did you guys get your gun back? Or did you get your gun back?
I got my gun and badge back. I honestly
Same.
can't remember how I got my gun or badge back. I know I got them both back. How'd you get them back? Maybe I got them the same way.
Well,
The
Marco, how'd you...
gun. Where was the gun? I did get him back. I'm trying to remember. Because it was the crazy cop lady, right? That had the
I got it
sirens
back
and
from
stuff.
a crazy cop lady with the gun. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, she was just
Okay.
sitting
Yeah,
there
yeah,
like,
yeah.
"I'm a cop. The pigs are here," or something. Just like she was going.
I think she was calling herself Pig Face.
The pigs. I think she
so,
was just
yeah.
The
the
pigs.
pigs. Yeah.
I'm the pigs.
Yeah. And,
But luckily, your gun was empty.
yeah. I'm glad it was, because I probably would have ended the game being shot. I forget what the choices were, but I was a little bit aggressive when I was talking to her.
I was too. Yeah, there's no bullets in there,
Yeah.
which is how you
Wait,
can actually go through the game and not have a bullet. But I guess there's a couple bullets. I found one.
Yeah, I found at least one in the hut, the house, or whatever it was, the fishing house.
Yeah, right when I finally get enough money that I don't have to worry about like spending money to stay the night, I get a free place to stay every night.
Yeah. But I mean, I had three
So-
guns. I got
Three?
one from the sniper. I took when there's a gun shootout, I took his gun. And then I took a Ruby when she shot herself. So, because
I had
Oh,
Ruby's
I
gun.
saved Ruby.
I couldn't.
Ruby
I
didn't-
rolled. I was like, I'll
saved
save you.
Ruby?
Yeah, I talked to her and
lived?
she didn't kill herself and she went off. She was
I didn't know she could live. She shot
Yeah.
herself in the face for me.
Yeah.
No, I talked her out of it. So not committing suicide. That
I
it wasn't
tried.
her.
You guys didn't get shot in the gunfight with like the OK Corral gunfight?
No,
You
I
guys
got
didn't get
shot. I was shot.
I got shot multiple times.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because
Yeah.
I thought I was the only one that got shot there.
No.
Okay.
I went in there and
No,
I was
I-
like, "Hey, guys, stop!" And then I shot the sniper guy, and then it did the little gun battle thing, and most people died, but it is what it is. Yeah, I don't think there's any way to get away from that not happening.
I think it's like 3 to 7 people can die. And mine was the fewest.
I don't know if
Mine was the
I was like
most, if it was
4 or 5. I think died on mine.
Yeah.
Um,
Because I was looking it up. I was like, man, I was curious about the branching of this,
Mhm.
especially after fucking Kuno became my detective.
Man, he is the 4chaner of the game. He just
He is. Yep.
and they made his voice so loud, not just like that it wasn't you increase it because he's yelling and being annoying and everything, but the audio was just so turned up for him that I had to always turn it down a little bit every time I went up and talked to him. And I was like,
Oh, he was the worst. Everything about the design of that character was perfect because he is the most hateable human you've ever met.
yep.
Did you guys solve the haunted house?
Yeah, it was just a dice maker, the dice maker one.
Did you buy the dice from her too?
I didn't buy the dice. I probably should have, but I
I
had so much. I had like 400. No, I didn't have. I had $144 or whatever at the end that I just never spent on anything, and I feel bad about it now. But I don't know.
That
I was trying
my
to save my
problem
money.
in day 2.
did you guys get the thought that I got one where every time I passed a knowledge check, it gave me 10 experience points and $2. Like anytime there was a passive knowledge check.
Mine
did you
was
guys
socialist.
get that one?
If I submitted a socialist comment, I got $1.
Yeah, so and my character was built off of knowledge. Like that was my strong point. So these knowledge checks. So once I got it on day 3, and at that point just money started flying in. I was like, man, where were you day 1? Which
didn't
I
get
don't
anything like
actually
that.
remember how I got it, but you can get it early, I think, if you know what you're doing. But
I didn't know you can get money through checks. That's crazy.
yeah.
No.
I know like I mentioned before in our chat that my frustration was day 2 because like you can't the game doesn't let you know, but time stops at 2 a.m. It
Mhm.
will just stop everything. And if you have 0 money at the end of day 2, there's nothing. Your game's over. You have to reset to an earlier save because you just can't stay anywhere and time stopped. And I was testing it because I was using a book that I had bought to push time because I thought I had to do it for a quest, and I pushed myself into like a hole. So I had to start it earlier.
Yeah,
That was like
that's
2 hours
that's just
to do.
bad design. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's
Yeah,
easier
there should
once
be
you get
what-
your own place.
Yeah, but I didn't get that till day 3, and at that point, you
You
only
get
have one more day
Yeah.
left, and then it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't have to worry about money a lot. Like Garrett, I didn't even have to worry about the hotel room anymore. Garrett let me stay there for free because I gave him a bird, I think. And was happy I gave him a bird.
I didn't give that to him. I had the option. I chose not to.
I
He did not like me.
I went to give him the bird. Oh, that's right. I didn't need it anymore, but I gave him the bird too.
No.
Yeah. I was like,
I
I'm
was
trying to make
actually-
amends with this guy that I've like just I ruined this hotel.
I mean, he's
was
an
trying
asshole,
to-
but you know.
I was trying to upset him more. I really didn't want to stay there. I was trying to like not pay him as much as I could and just be a jerk to him. Just
Nice.
didn't really help me.
You're just living your dreams of what you never do in real life in this game.
Right. I had every drug. I don't know how many times. I used them constantly.
Tons of
The
drugs.
way my guy went, like I don't know how much morale you guys lost during the game. I lost it constantly. I was constantly embarrassing myself and getting hit by that thing, which was nice because you can find the stuff that gives you extra
Or
morale.
heals you, yeah.
But yeah, that's like everywhere. I had abundance of that, but it was like almost every conversation I took a hit to my morale.
Not a shared experience. I think when I was done, I think I had 12 morale points buffered.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't. And I wasn't trying to be as like the apologizing cop like Mark or the just straight mongrel guy that you were. I was somewhere in the middle.
I like how people said definitely came into a conversation at odd time, and then it's trust me, at any point you came in would have been a strange time.
Touche.
Yeah, that's this game. Absolutely fucking out there. Did you? So I also didn't see my face for like a couple of days because I didn't know you needed to look in a mirror. So I thought it was just a blob.
That was the first thing I did was look in the mirror with a weird face. And I never passed the check to get it changed the whole game. Every time I went in, I would do the check and I would fail. And then the next day I would put another stat boost, fail. And I was like, I'm going to have this face this whole time.
I didn't know you could change the face except for shaving.
Yeah.
I did a shave and then it just like a baby faced creeper. So it was just like...
I didn't pass the shaving. I think I failed the shaving because I had chops the whole time and I tried to shave.
Yep. I failed every check in the bathroom the whole game.
Oh, man.
I also failed like almost every physical check. I got hurt a lot in the game. And I tried to hurt people too, so it was even worse. I died a couple times because I just failed I want to kick this mailbox and then I like died.
Oh, I didn't catch
I did kick the mailbox. Yeah.
I
like it
did
though,
not.
the first part when you pet the mailbox, like, hey buddy, you're doing great.
Yeah. This game had a lot of really good moments in it. There's a lot of good stuff. There's some parts that while you're just trying to go through the game are tedious. It felt tedious and stuff I just didn't want to deal with. Again, the social economic stuff and it just wasn't something I was caring to do 20 minutes of listening to someone ramble on about it. And there's just a few other things in there. Kuno they did a good job of Kuno because I really didn't want to talk to that character at all. I didn't want to have interactions with him. Yeah. I wanted to avoid him as much as I could, but you had to keep going down there. He's like, it's Kuno! It's just like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, it's a pretty good impersonation. It's like Kuno the Raptor.
Yeah.
What about the rave guys? Did you like their vocals?
I did.
Yeah, they were good. They were good.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of that whole setup with the rave guys. They're like living out on an ice, part of the ice, and then they're like, yeah, we're raving out here on the ice. We'd like to rave inside the church instead. And then we locked it in.
I really want someone to jump in right now. Of all the weird points.
And then just
But
Afterwards,
the church has the crab man in it, and you can't go in the church when the crab man's in there. Plus, you have the lady who's doing research for like the weird black
Wait.
holes.
and then
You
they
can't go in the. Wait, you can't go in the church with the crab man?
No, they didn't want to go in there.
Yeah,
'cause
they
of the
wanted to
crab
go in
Oh,
there
I
because
was
of the
like,
crab
you
man.
didn't talk to the crab man?
No,
I talked
he
to
was
the
a
crab man.
he was a really polite guy.
He's a good
Yeah,
guy.
he was.
But no, like when you're, they're like, yeah, we just put a lock on the door. You know, we don't. It was a couple of weeks ago. Hopefully they're okay. I don't know.
You might have killed someone.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be
I was
bad.
expecting to like go in there and just be dead bodies everywhere, and I was like, well,
Yeah.
this is great.
By the
relieved
way,
that
that
wasn't
lock
the
on
case.
the door,
Yeah.
that lock on the door had a smiley face with X's for
Mhm.
eyes, and that was the exact thing that was on my car.
Yeah,
and
the
I was like,
graffiti on your car.
what's going on here?
Oh, that yeah. You're in now augmented reality Disco Elysium.
Yep.
The church lock was actually what broke my my pry bar
my-
cutters.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I bet you that's like something in the game because
An
it broke
instant.
mine too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did it? I don't know if it broke mine. I can't remember.
Yeah. Mine broke off that.
Um,
That's why I had to get the key.
But yeah, no, it was a strange thing. And then like in the end, the ravers went in there raving, and the lady still did her research while they were raving in the background.
I
and
was going to
Crab
ask
Man
you
was
what
just
happened with that, because like, yeah, right. You finally get in there and thinking there's going to be dead bodies, and instead you're like, wait, super science is happening.
Yeah. Super crazy
Well, you
science.
think, like,
And you like, I like by the time I left, I just needed to get her additional like data from the other lab that you had discovered. And at that point, you like brokered a deal. Crabman's cool. Ravers are able to come in, and she's down. I just need to get this. And then the game ended, and I'm like, I really wanted to find out what happened with that quest line. Like I brokered a truce between the super scientists, the Ravers, and Crabman.
I think
So
the
they
ground
do
shakes or something.
Yeah, she does the audio test to see what nothing sounds like, at least in that one area, and it starts to like destroy the church. But at the same time, the guy who's like hardcore, he's like doing his rave thing, and he's still spinning. And then they're like, "You need to stop it, stop spinning." And he's like, "But this is even more hardcore." And it starts breaking and falling everywhere. And then eventually he stops, and you go out and talk to him like, "Why did you stop?" He was like, "That was too hardcore."
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you guys all got the kind of weird scene where you take. Well, I don't know. Did you take a nap on the island when you got there?
I didn't.
And then like
No.
I saw the quest for it, but I didn't.
so you didn't have the little thing where you walk into the ocean and have a little scene where you. Okay.
No, that was a Mark special.
No, it was a Mark special. So I took a nap in there, and then there's a part where it's like you want to walk into the ocean, and there's nothing you can do. That's the only thing you can do. Door locks, and you have to just walk into the ocean. So I was like, well, I guess this is how the game ends. I just drowned or something. And so you walk into the ocean, and then you like end up at some weird spot where you see the goddess or whatever that's in the mirror in the church, or like the portrait in the church, but it's not really the goddess. It's like your ex-wife. And then you have this kind of like scene. She's like, I'm going, I'll see you later. I'm leaving. And then he's like, I don't want to leave. And it's this really sad interaction between him and this, because that's why he was all messed up, because of her. If at least in my storyline, he was all fucked up and drinking hardcore and everything because of this massive depression he has from leaving his wife. Or the X is what it was called. And so when he was getting there, I was like, it got to a point, it was like, you can succeed and try to kiss her before she leaves, right? Like, no, don't leave or anything. And so I succeeded, and he kissed her, and it's like, she doesn't kiss you back. It's just like a sad moment of just like sitting there for 30 seconds feeling sad and depressed that this woman is leaving him and doesn't want anything to do with him. And then it snaps back to reality, and you're just like, oh, well, fuck.
So at the end, did it explain that your amnesia was psychotraumatic amnesia induced by the world?
I don't
like
know.
about how awful the world is? That's what it told me.
I think it
I
was
feel
just
like I had a choice. Like
Yeah.
I got to choose what my amnesia was caused
I think
by.
I think it was.
I could have chose because I know I could have chose. I had the choices of an alcoholic, the weight of the world,
I think
Something
I must have chose the way to the world then.
I
'Cause that's
chose
what
the
they
way to the
told me.
world, but
Yeah.
I had like a whole bunch of choices.
I can't remember what I chose, but I did
Oh,
choose.
my X. So the X thing came up only probably in 2 or 3 dialogue choices of the whole game, and I could have chose that line, but I never went down that route. So like the world, like I knew that was something in the backstory from those choices, but I didn't actually choose any of them.
I chose it a handful of times. So,
Well, one of them is when you remember when you get shot and you have to right before you're about to die, and it's like the one last thought because Kim's like, "Keep talking to me, tell me something," and one of the choices is like, "Tell her I loved her."
I don't think I said that. I forget
Oh
what.
no, I didn't. Oh, I didn't say that. I just had the choice. And I was like, "Tell her I loved her." Oh, do I have an ex that I've not been dealing with?
But yeah, no. At first, when Kim came, I was like, I really don't like this guy at all. But as the story went on, I was like, this is my best friend. Like he really grew on me.
I felt like he was the only stable influence in the whole world.
But Nick was an asshole too.
He was like, my interactions with him was I would do something, and then he would just be like, I can't stand this guy. Why am I here?
He high fived me at some point. Like when I shot the guy down off the tree, he was like, "High five." And I was like, "Yeah."
I also stole the credit for things like he solved like all the cases, and at the end, like they'd be like, "So how'd you solve it?" And I was like, "I did it all." And Kim was like, "Come on, man."
I think I convinced Kim to join my police department at the end. I think that was one of the options, but
that's pretty good.
yeah, I don't know. It was a positive, bittersweet ending to everything. At least mine was. Did you guys side more with the gross union boss or the snooty yacht owner?
The union boss.
Union boss.
I think I unintentionally went with the union boss
because respect the workers.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it came down to. I mean, even though he wasn't respecting the workers, it was all bullshit. Really in the end. But the snooty lady, it's hard to side with her because she's kind of she's a horrible person. She sounded like she was one of those people who was.
When you guys went to the island, how did you get there? Did she give you a ride, or did you borrow a boat?
I borrowed a boat. Oh,
I borrowed a boat from my girlfriend, kind of. Okay. The lady I went on a date with.
You went on a date?
I went on a date, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I did.
Fishing village.
I didn't know you could go on a date. I thought I was undateable.
We talked about, like, she had me meet her up north in the fishing area, and we went and, like, watched, like, the ocean and stuff, and I think I was trying to be romantic, and she was, like, not digging it. Whatever. I thought you had to go on a date with her to get her boat. I guess not.
No, I just asked her, and she's like, "Cool, let's make sure to bring it back."
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, just don't scratch it up. Something like that.
And then Mark's like, "You ready?" Yep. Boom, bye.
It was so good. You guys need to watch a cutscene of that. It was just like such a good moment. It felt wonderful.
It's funny because I really liked it. I got more of the slow, semi-melodramatic like music that was playing with it, kind of like the somber. We're in an important moment, and then like the camera actually zoomed out. One of the rare times it actually like took control.
You guys know you can zoom out your camera while you're running around, right? Because like I didn't know that for a while. And
so you're like always looking at your face.
Yeah. Yeah, it was always so close. I'm like clicking. I'm like every 2 seconds I'm clicking to move. And so I had zoomed out. I'm like, oh my God, this saves so much time. Because you just have to click once and just like look away for a little bit.
That was a mechanic that I really didn't care for. So I'm gonna mention Quern again.
Oh, okay.
So when I played Quern, because it's basically a point and click, Quern has an option in the menu options that you can just click on, and it'll highlight every item that you can interact with. And this game allowed you to do it if you held down the tab key. You had to hold down the tab key the whole time to see everything you can interact with.
With me, if you just with a mouse with the 2 buttons, traditional mouse, if you click if you held them both down, it all popped up, all the interactable stuff.
I didn't know that any of that could happen. I moved my mouse.
Did you have to hold them down?
Yeah, because I would normally have like the left. I would double click the left because you could constantly run, and then you just hold the right one down. Everything would pop up what you could interact with.
Wait, hold on, Mark. Did you not know? Were you just clicking on everything? You didn't know you could do that?
I moved I clicked the move and then I just moved my mouse all over the screen looking for things to pop up.
Oh, you did it like old school 80s style, because that's how you had to do it. Yeah, no, you just highlight click and you're like, oh, this is everything I can interact with.
I wish I
I
knew
just
about
held
that.
down tab the entire time.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no.
I feel like such an idiot. I was.
You could have played this whole game with just one hand.
Yeah. Oh.
Man, and Mark, you're just clicking everywhere.
I was clicking everywhere, and well, it highlights if your mouse goes over it and you can click on it, it will highlight.
Yeah.
So I would click, and then while I'm doing it, I'm just like moving my mouse around and I'm just looking and just seeing if anything highlights.
Did you miss out? How much change did you pick up?
I picked up a good amount of change.
Okay, I was like, because that sometimes was
I'm
like
really
pretty
good
hidden,
at
but I would
finding
see it
the
because I would just
clickables.
highlight the screen and be like, oh, okay, click it. Okay, click that.
Obviously, I probably missed a lot of stuff that I just didn't realize because I didn't know it was there.
I think that's probably.
Did you guys get into the storage container that is where the Union boss was?
No, I was going to ask you guys that too.
No, I never got in there.
I didn't get in that, and I also didn't get into that little bunker area that's like kind of north of the fishing place. I had like a 3% chance of opening the door, and you couldn't recheck it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did you get in there, Brett?
Oh yeah, I never got that either.
It's like north of the church.
Oh yeah.
I was hoping something would happen that would allow me to eventually open it, but I think it's just one of those checks. Like if you hit it, you just get 3% chance on that run of the game that you can actually open it or something. I don't know. Maybe there is something that allows you to open it, but I couldn't find it. And they did explain the old man did tell me that it was just propaganda stuff in there, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But he didn't I wasn't ever able to find a way in. I'm trying to think of what else, was kind of interesting, like the D&D thing they had in there with the computers and stuff. I didn't get all the passcodes for all of, like I didn't get the first one, the one that was in the secret mystery area that you had to go back eventually to, that you could put one in there and she asked you for the passcode. I'm like, I have no clue. It's my birthday. And, you go through all the guesses and it's not any of those.
Nope.
Brian.
Back.
Yeah. But I couldn't.
Wait, what are you guys talking about? D&D stuff.
The computer that was basically like a D&D game computer.
Yeah.
Where's the computer at?
In the church?
No, not in the church. Well, the church is like, it has a computer thing in there, but the one that's like all the D&D stuff is the mystery in the bookstore where you go through all the different things. There's a gym, and then there's like a couple other little companies that were in there. They all died, and like it was the curse of the businesses.
Oh.
And then one of the last rooms.
Okay, I guess I did that.
Because it's the church. That's where you have to go to get the other stuff, the tapes.
Yep.
Because when you go into the church before she shows up and you just call the operator, she's basically like you're calling D&D customer service.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Because it's like this hyper meta thing where they're like talking about the game itself being a tabletop role playing game, and that it turns out like, what's a secret? What are all these secret codes and these monsters? Oh, they're just making up a D&D game.
Yeah, that's what it basically was. And so I was like, I didn't take that too far because I couldn't figure out anything with it. But I didn't.
Oh, I did get the passcode.
Yeah.
Well, don't you have to get the passcode to turn the computer on?
For the church, you do.
For a church,
yeah.
For a church, but not like the little other. There's like 3 different tapes, I think.
I don't think I ever even came across those. So I don't know.
Oh well, you loser.
There was the one tape that was like the schedule that didn't work out.
Yeah, there's the scheduled, and there's one more, and then there was one for the church. I think. I don't know.
Okay, so I only got the schedule and the church one, and I think I did both of those.
I don't think I got the schedule one unlocked either, but I don't know.
Not on this side.
Yeah. Did you do anything with the dice when you bought the dice, by the way, Nick?
No, I just got the magnetic dice, and then I was looking for something to do with it, but I couldn't figure it out.
I was looking for a D20 game to play, but no one to play with.
I didn't want to sell them.
So you know where the military veteran and the other guy was playing like with those ball bearings in the park?
Oh yeah.
I do want to ask you guys how that turned out for you when you guys did the option form. Did you like play around or whatever with them and throw the ball?
I did. I threw the ball straight in the water.
That's what I did too.
Yeah.
And I could never find another one the entire game.
I found another ball and brought it to them, and they yelled at me that it wasn't the right ball. Oh, did you get the sandwich from the old man?
No, I don't think so.
I convinced him to give me his sandwich because apparently I was going to go make him a better sandwich. But I never found the ingredients to make the better sandwich. So I just stole an old man's sandwich. It was really sad because I was like, actually, that's not true. At one point, I tried to like give the sandwich back to split it all apart, like share it with everyone because I thought we were like cool. And apparently that was the worst choice to make. He was very mad at me. But yeah, I took his sandwich. It was in my inventory. I could eat it and sell it. They could do all kinds of stuff with it.
I wish there was an option when you like were in like the gunfight and you jumped in the middle and be like, "Hey guys, I got a sandwich here. I'll just split it up."
So apparently, I always pass the check to shoot. But if you if you have a bullet and you can shoot the guy, if you fail, they give you another check to throw your gun. You can throw your gun at him.
Oh, really?
But I never had. Yeah, I found that out when I redid it. I redid that one multiple times because I was kind of curious. But when I failed with Kuno, I'm like, we're starting this over. And like, but I always did where my guy ran into the middle of the battle to be like, stop, I'm police.
I forget
didn't
what
try.
I said.
Yeah, I didn't try.
I'm police, and then
options.
there's something else and something else, right? There's two more.
Yeah, and the other ones are just like sit back and see what happens.
Oh yeah, I intervened. Yeah. Whatever was the one that would make you intervene.
Yeah.
I guess that's the I'm police one.
I got some achievement for saying I'm the law like 7 times. I just like told people I'm the law. You're gonna do what I say. I got an achievement for it.
Yeah, that's something that you wanted to go over with was the achievements you got.
Oh yeah, I was curious what you guys got.
Let me see.
I guess I could have just looked, but
because I uninstalled this game as soon as I beat it.
You what?
Yeah, I uninstalled it.
You hate you.
I was just like, I'm done. I'm out. So recruit Kim. I did that. That was one of my achievements.
What is that?
That's where at the end of the game you get him to join your precinct.
Okay.
Figurines won't win her back. I tried to give a figurine to my ex in that dream. And that was supposed to actually do something, but found out it did nothing. The goodest of good cops get Kim to trust you. Baddest hustler in the neoliberal hood. Preach free market 9 times. And then the world's most laughable centrist. Defend political center, whatever, 7 times. Centrism, yeah, 7 times is what it says.
I'm not sure.
So that's the 5 I got.
Wow, I don't think I got any of those.
Well, what'd you get then, Nick?
Okay, so I got I said 7 deranged superstar lines. I got the hyperstellar law official.
Okay.
I did the biggest communism builder. I got critical theory 9 times, which is kind of boring. I had the lawbringer, like I said I'm the law 7 times.
Mm-hmm.
And I got the baddest cop because I hit an all-time low with Kim.
Oh. Okay. All right. What'd you get, Brian?
So I got the hyperstellar law official, so the superstar, the critical theory, biggest communism builder. I also got defend the political center, so I'm the world's most laughable centrist.
Oh, okay.
Also, this one's pretty funny considering I am now I'm a communist, I'm a centrist, and then I got the baddest hustler in the neoliberal hood, which is preaching the free market. So
you supported all.
I supported everything. I got El Capo de Arte, so the say 5 art cop lines. And then goodest of the good cops, really get Kim to trust you. But those are my 6 achievements.
Wow. I would recommend 2 things for you guys to do after this is to look at the one where you play the boombox in the scene.
Look at what?
The boombox when you're on the boat.
Okay.
And then the second one is to see the scene with his wife that you guys didn't see when you didn't take that nap.
Okay.
Because I think those were good scenes in the game there. So there's a lot of stuff like I'm going through the dialogue. I'm reading it. And I'm like paying attention to it. I'm like, this is stuff that I am interested in reading and seeing, and it actually draws me in some. And then it would just say something about communism and just go on for 20 minutes, and I'm done. But there was some good stuff in the game. Like the art, of course, was great. the idea of the game, I think overall was really good. They had a lot of good writing. The people put a lot of love into this game. It's just really difficult. Like I don't doubt if I wasn't doing this game with you guys, I would have stopped and not finished the game.
I believe you.
I read that the main writer, was inspired by True Detective and The Wire, and I was like, of course he was. That makes like
Wire is like one of the best shows that was ever made. So yeah, no, it makes sense.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Everything you said.
Okay.
I would have kept playing. Like the writing was really good. So in terms of some of the criticism, I would have had some of the branching. I probably would have some of the conversations would have truncated some of them. But also like I wouldn't have been able to repeat stuff like when I went back to certain people, because there was the one issue where I like something else happened, and when I went back to talk to her, like there was a nested branch underneath what I had said that I could now talk again, but I didn't know it was there.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, you should have let me know that there was a new choice there. And all the choices, there were nothing, just like literally eliminate them. Like once you ask them, you read them, you're done. Like,
yeah. And sometimes like it would re-highlight, say, hey, that this is something new, and I had to click on it and all the choices were already clicked. And so it just, there's some goofy stuff with that for sure.
Yeah. No, actually, because I started playing it like 2 hours at a time. And then by Saturday, I kind of woke up and I was like, in my mind, I thought I was a lot closer to finishing it than I was. It was like, I'm 2 hours away. I was like 8. But by the time I was done, I really did feel like I actually was reading a novel the whole day. Like the same way that you feel when you read a novel for like 6-7 hours. And when I was done, I was like, I really felt like I read a novel, which was a really good experience, like feeling like I actually.
That's why I thought you would like this a lot, because you do a lot of reading, so it would make a lot of sense. So
yeah, but I usually don't do a lot of reading in that kind of way.
Like, I also thought you guys were going to spend a lot more time on this game than I did. So Nick beating it way earlier, like a few hours before I beat it.
I was surprised that it went quicker for me. I actually thought it was going to be longer.
Because I skimmed through a lot of stuff. So
I feel like I did a lot less side quests than you guys, and I actually felt like I was doing. No, that's all right. I felt like I was doing more side quests than the main story, and then all of a sudden the game was just over. I was like, shit. There's so many other things I wanted to do. That I wonder, no matter how we're playing it, as long as you're not just completely wasting time, it's all gonna force you. The game does it. The timeline just forces it to happen. Like if you don't find your gun, you don't find your badge, you don't find everything, it's gonna keep pushing you to the end of the game. You know?
Yeah,
so.
And it could be just because I chose like crappy cop. I was a crappy cop and just a weirdo, that my dialogue was a lot shorter.
That could be it too.
That's
like
true. People straight up like they don't like talking to you. Which I read a thing too. I was reading builds. Like my character was like knowledge build, but if you build it too much, like people will stop talking to you because they think you're a know-it-all. You know, and they're like, I'm curious to see how much of the actual branching paths exist.
And I did choose almost every branch. Like there's only a couple of them. Like I don't want to say this because it sounds like like it's going to have a bad consequence. Then I wouldn't hit it. So
same.
But
I never talked about my ex-wife or my ex-love or whatever that was. I'd never broached that. There was a couple more, but
I still don't think this is a $40 game. I think it's like
I am completely fine with I think it's a $40 game, but
really?
I got 20 hours out of it.
Even if you get like 20 hours out of a game, I don't think. I mean, I know you, Brian. You're like, I'll spend $1,000, and if it's like the best 5 minutes of my life, it's a great game. But for me, I still, I don't feel bad for spending money on games and stuff. But I do feel, I still try to judge that. I'm like, hey, I had so much fun in this game, and it cost this much money. Compare it to this game and how much fun I had and how much time I spent in it and how much work probably went into the game and everything else. I mean, they put a lot of work into it, but so did a lot of people who have cheaper games that are maybe even a little bit better. So I don't know.
I mean, but like me spending $40 into a game like this is helping fund games like this in the future, and I'm completely fine with
that. This guy.
Well, here's another question mark for something like this. What if you're doing your data analytics survey, what does this game compare to?
Mist. Myst, even though like what I remember of Myst at least. Then I would say it kind of goes in line. It's not the same as Telltale Games, but I mean it reminds me of Telltale Games.
Yeah.
And I would also say, oh god, Cheryl's playing with the laser. She's like, it's all right. Who cares? Make noise. Anyways,
the reason why I say that is I think that outside of just comparing it to old text adventures, there's not many modern games you can compare it to, because it's doing, in certain respects, it's doing kind of a new thing, not a new thing, but it is a unique experience of a game there's not a lot like it, which is why like narratively there's almost nothing like it.
I just typed in on the Quantic Foundry game list. I typed in Disco Elysium 3 times on there, and Outer Wilds comes up. So does Baba Is You, Return to Obra Dinn, Pathfinder, Death Stranding. So it's trying.
Did Planescape come up on there?
Planescape did not come up on here.
So the reason why I say that, I went to after I beat it, I went to the subreddit. And of course, this is the kind of game you're like, oh yeah, the subreddit's really active, because people who love this game are going to really love this game. And comes up a lot. They said the last game that comped to this was Planescape Torment. That came up a couple different times. I haven't played it, but I know that was something that's kind of like third tier backlog. Yeah. You know, it's like, oh, kind of, I was supposed to go check that out. But I will tell you this though, when I played it, there are times I was like, oh, I just love this game. This is so great. And then there's like huge stretches. I'm like, I'm so bored.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I actually wrote my 1-sentence review in our Discord.
Oh, what was your 1-sentence review?
I don't remember now. Let me see. I said, a roller coaster of emotions from love to boredom that when finished, I wanted to play again, and I didn't understand those feelings.
I didn't want to play this again afterwards.
I immediately did. I was like, ooh, I started thinking about all the branching paths and then things I could just ignore, and then knowing how much I
feel like that just kind of ruins it, to be honest with you. Like, the charm of the game to me was literally being thrown in and not having any clue what the fuck's going on. And
like, do you remember the first fake name that you chose? Like, first fake name you think your name is, like Pierre Lafeu, da 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 da. Like, what if you just play the whole game committing to that?
Yeah. I mean, it would be interesting to see that stuff, yeah, but I don't know. I just don't want to go through all the branching again. I just don't want to click on it, especially, like,
maybe you don't. That's the thing. Like, I was afraid. I clicked on everything because I was afraid I was going to miss something, but maybe that's the point. And if you go to the sub, they will tell you. They're like, oh, no, your best playthroughs, if you want to play it again, are the ones after your first. Those are the ones where you get to really play around a lot more. Well, I mean, I want to go roundhouse kick that guy. I didn't even have the choice.
Well, you have to punch him first, and then after you punch him, you get an option for a roundhouse. Yeah.
My guy is a super weakling. I would have gotten destroyed. Oh, I think I did have that choice, and it was 3%.
Yeah, mine was okay.
I chose to punch him, and I hurt myself. And then I decided to become his friend.
I'm glad that worked out.
Well, did you guys ever play Oxenfree?
Mm-mm.
So Oxenfree is like
a
choice game, and it's kind of like a horror-ish choice game. But you also, one choice that you have in every single confrontation is you can do nothing, and that gives a different outcome. So you could just go through the whole game being silent and not talking to anybody, and you go down a completely different path. That game isn't as much dialogue, but I do think that your choices matter in that game.
Maybe I would like that game more then.
So I will say there is a narrative thing that bothered me about this game, is that the world was so dense in a way where sometimes that works, right? You just kind of drop you like in media res, and you're like, okay, there's a lot of stuff going on. But it did it in such a way that by the time even the game was done, I didn't understand the world. There's so many different political factions that I didn't understand. They were just like, I understand Middle Earth things with more context than this. And then the way that it was like, there was like a lot of different races, but in the end I was like, wait, are they really races? Or are they actually just these like subtle like phenotype changes? These aren't like, I thought I was expecting when the giant shows up that there was going to be like weird silver people and these things, and then in the end it was like, and there was nothing that was like analogous to our normal world, so I couldn't tell what it was kind of making, and I'm like, this is actually really confusing. Like, it was too dense to not, which is why I think it would like. I think he originally wrote this as a novel, and it's supposed to be being translated into English this year. You know, and I think that probably will have more context. But
I'm not a huge fan of like creating a big world and then trying to explain the big world to you. I'd rather there be a big world and then just you go through it and you have to be in it in some way. You learn a little bit here and there, but never like full on. This is exactly everything about this city and everything. Like, you just like these huge explanations, which they had a lot of them in the game, I think.
Well, that's only because you asked those questions. You could
I felt like if I didn't, I was going to like miss an option for the main story that I needed to do, and so.
But I also kept talking to like the snooty lady. She thought I was the dumbest thing on the planet because of how many times I asked her to explain certain things. Like, she'd be like, "We're at Revenal. What's Revenal?" And
well,
then
she knew I lost
like,
my memory, so
yeah.
Was...
I did not get that credit. I was straight like, I don't know how you're an effective detective because you are possibly the stupidest adult I've ever met. Because I kept asking like normal questions because my character doesn't know anything about the world.
I don't know. There's some point where I think she got to a point where she was just like, "Here's reality," and she would tell you everything about reality. And like, you
I did, yeah.
And so, and she was just treating you like, okay, you lost your memory. These are things I'll explain and talk to you. And I went through all those branches.
So I was thinking about the. Oh, go on, Nick. Go.
I was gonna say, I think that the game would have benefited the game if like maybe you went into the bookstore and there was like some encyclopedias there or just something there that would have like given you had the option to read some in-depth like history about the game and more about like the different like factions and like eugenics and stuff.
Skyrim just style.
So you could choose to have context if you want to, but
just not force
you had to read a lot of that through. It was hard to catch some of the things that they dropped. Every once in a while, they would drop like some type of like the moralist, and I'm like, oh, I want to learn about what like moralism is in this world, and like, well, I didn't really get that opportunity because they didn't really explain it that well.
Yeah.
So I guess my question for you guys, okay, so what thematic setting would you want to play a game like this in? Like, if someone said, like, if you asked the genie, hey, I want a Disco Elysium game, but I want it like this, what would you say? If you're like,
this.
Oh, you just want Disco Elysium again?
Yeah, it would just be this. This is what I think would be like it was probably the perfect for this type of game. Although I wouldn't, I'm not like a huge fan of this type of game. But yeah, this is, I think this is one of the worlds that I would want to see this type of game in.
Okay. Nick?
But I mean, like, are you meaning like, is there a world that I want to learn more about, and I'd be excited to see all the different?
It could be anything. You're like, I want to see this as a Star Wars game. Like, okay, so from my perspective, what I actually, of all the different storytelling narratives, Crime Detective is probably my least favorite. I just tend to not care about solving crime stuff. I just don't care about that stuff. Some of it's interesting and some of it's really good. You know, like True Detective is great, but generally speaking, I don't like crime stories. Like, just change it from a crime story. Like, and granted, this game works well because crime stories like lay out the evidence and you have to slowly collect it, and then it kind of builds the narrative for you.
Right.
I would have personally, I like any other kind of story, but I don't know.
Nicholas?
That worked. Yeah. Like Nine Inch Nails fanfic world, like point and click adventure.
I don't really like the true. Okay, I don't mind True Detective. I don't like the true crime stuff either. So I wasn't as drawn to that point, but I got involved with the story and I enjoyed reading about it. I think if I had my pick, I like more of like a minimalistic like fantasy world with some technology. I think like some like technology that borderlines magic in a way, like almost like
you like monster punk.
Yeah, I think that'd be fine. Well, I think the Myst games do a really good job with like putting you in this area that you know nothing about and kind of explaining them to you, or at least learning how the logic of the world works. And of course, I'm gonna drop with The Witness because I love The Witness. But I like the environment and like the the technology that they built up in the universe as well.
Okay.
But I was happy with this game. I thought that it was a really great setting for the game, and I really did enjoy playing it. At first, at first I didn't really like playing it a lot because I thought it was too heavy on the dialogue, and not like that's a bad thing, but I just felt exhausted after just reading 20 minutes at a time with this character.
It was like 20 minutes. I was like, that
Yeah.
took 20 minutes. Yeah.
But Brian, you mentioned, it might have been the last time we streamed, that hey, you don't have to select everything. Just select the things that you want to. And from that point, I was like, I didn't think about that. I kind of thought I was missing something. But you really don't. You just select the things that you want to, and you play that style, and it's okay. You don't have to select every single option. And it makes the game seem way smoother.
Maybe that's what I should have done. I should just, because I thought I needed to click on these things to advance the story. Like there's, progression of the story was talking to people and picking the dialogue that would progress to the next point.
Like I'd be curious about the logistics of it, but like I kind of wish in the beginning we had so many choices. And let's say like you want to be the superstar cop, you want to be the boring cop, or the whatever. And at some point they're creating a back-end control check. And at some point, if you become the superstar so much, you will never see boring cop options again. Like they're just gone. And then it slowly starts. So by the end of the game, you actually have fewer choices to make because you have made the choice of who your person is. So in the beginning you have this like wide range of choices. And as the game keeps going, it's narrow. So by the end, you're like, yeah, there's like 10 different endings because of the way of how you've built your character throughout the game. It just keeps, they might be subtle, kind of like some of our interactions, but you're like, oh no, you don't get to be superstar and boring cop. It's not possible. Like through your tree branching. But I would have liked this if it was far more fantasy, because I was kind of interested in the beginning. I was like, this is a really weird world. And then they were talking about some other species of people that were like silver. And I was waiting for like, almost like a menagerie of weird stuff. And in the end it was like, oh, it was all pretty normal. And I was shocked at some point when they started calling Kim, that they were like, he's a different species. I was like, my buddy Kim, he's just like me. Like, I was like, oh, this is like that like hyper racist level of species stuff where I was like, oh, I thought we were going to run into like ogres and, fairy people and Mothmen, like all this weird stuff. And you're like, oh.
Yeah, I wish they would have explored that and shown that a little bit more. It would have been more interesting at least, but I guess that just wasn't the story they wanted to tell. So,
yeah.
All right. So, are we happy with Disco Elysium? We're like, okay, we did it. We're glad. We move on now and move to the next.
I'm really glad I played it. Oh, that's the other thing. It's the kind of game or kind of experience. 1 year from now, I'm gonna remember it far. Like I'm gonna remember my experience and far like more joy than I had when I played it. Like I already know that. Because there's something about it that I know that kind of sunk into me. Even when we're done, I was like, I actually really like that. But a year from now, I'm going to tell you I loved it. Like the whole time I have like, oh, I loved it the whole time. But I was like, oh, this is one of those games where once it sinks in, it's going to sit there, No. So.
I don't know. Same thing with old games, nostalgia, like Final Fantasy VII. I love it a lot more than probably when I played it. I would think at least, because I just remember it now. I don't actually have to go through the automated battles and everything anymore. So,
well, as someone who just played Mario 1, 2, and 3 recently, let me tell you that the nostalgia for Mario 2 did not hold.
Isn't that the one where you can like you pick which character and you can throw turnips and stuff and yeah,
it's the one where your main weapon is vegetables that you pick up and throw. Yeah.
Well,
no, actually, the reason why I didn't like it had largely to do with Mario games. The platforming themselves are so controlled. Like when you're moving, it's just they're really good at it. And I hate shitty platformers, which happens a lot in really old games, where your character is slippery. Not because they're on ice, but it's just the way that you're kind of always kind of half sliding and you don't have that kind of control. Mario 2 is like that, but I mean, it wasn't a real Mario game. It wasn't developed by like Nintendo's like. Or maybe it was, but it wasn't the main Mario developers. Because, the game was Doki Doki Panic. They just didn't want to release Mario Lost Levels here because they thought, literally, we're like, it's too hard for Americans. They'll hate this game. So let's just take this other game and then put the the sprites over it, and we'll call it. And well, they changed some stuff up too to make it a little more Mario-like. But which is also weird. Now you played so many Marios, you're like, this is the weirdest Mario game I've ever seen. Like it is very trippy.
Nah.
But
at least I mean I agree with you. 2 always stood out as being a weird kind of Nintendo Mario game that just didn't feel right. It felt just off.
Yeah, and that's because it is.
Yeah. All right. So next week, I'm thinking we can talk about Spider-Man if you guys want to.
Yeah.
And so that gives you guys a little bit of time to kind of just
get a whole week to do whatever we want.
Freestyle. Have some fun. Catch up with people, spraying your car and stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
And going through all that stuff. But
I'll probably continue my Mario.
I mean, I'll probably be done with this by the weekend. At the end of the weekend, I'm sure I'll be done with this game. But I mean, after this next one that we do, we're into horror. So,
which I'm excited about.
Yeah, and the list that I think I have for it, you guys can tell me if I have that list wrong. I put 4 games in there.
Yeah, there was a game I didn't recognize. Amanisa? What was that game?
Did I spell it wrong?
I don't know. It's Amanisa.
So yeah, we'll end off on that one. Hopefully we can get through 4 games, man. I don't know if we'll be able to do it, depending on how much time. We'll see how it works out.
Some of them are pretty short, right?
They're all short. Like Little Nightmares.
Evil 7's pretty short too. It's only like 10, 12 hours or something.
All right, we'll see. We'll see how it works out.
We'll get through them.
All right.
I bet you we could get through all of those games in the same time it took us to get through Disco Elysium.
God damn. I would have been happier if this game was like 10 hours long. I think that would have been suited more for what I could have dealt with. And they like shortened up all the conversations and just made it.
If it was set up in chapters, like if I played it like as chapters, because I'd be kind of curious if the Disco. You know what? If Disco Elysium 2 comes out, I'll probably die day one. Now that I think about it, I'm
sure
like, I want to see it.
Yeah.
I'm in.
So next week, Spider-Man. The week after that is Resident Evil 7, which we're going back to. We're going to have to play Resident Evil 8 whenever that comes out, but that's not going to be next month. So, and then we're going to throw Until Dawn in there. Littlest Nightmares, or is it Little Nightmares?
Little Nightmares.
Little Nightmares.
Yeah.
And I think the sequel for Little Nightmares is coming out really soon.
Yeah.
I just saw an ad for it.
And then Amnesia, the new one that they're coming out with, which is not Afterbirth. It's New Birth, I think. Or something similar to that. So we have a lot of games lined up, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I'm excited. Are you guys watching? Are you going to be watching a lot of horror movies, Nick?
I'll probably be watching some. I don't know. I might go. There's a list of probably at this point 100 horror movies I still have to watch. I might go through a bunch of those.
Okay.
Yeah, there'd be a bunch. Oh, and there's so speaking of horror, there's a film festival called Fantastic Fest that happens every year in I think it's Austin, and it's typically the film festival. It's kind of dedicated to horror, science fiction, kind of soft fantasy, and some weird movies. Mm-hmm. Normally every year, obviously it's in Austin and you have to be there to do the film festival. But this year, because of COVID, it's opened up to everyone. They're doing a virtual screening. And so I think, how many days is it, Nick? 8?
Yeah, and it starts tomorrow.
Yeah. So if you have Alamo On Demand, it's just a free app, and you sign an account with them, you can log in, RSVP for it, and then you can select all the movies you want to watch, which is everything, and then they will send you the queue, and you can watch it free from home. So these are movies that are made now that have never been released in theaters, so you get to see stuff way ahead of time. Mm-hmm. Some of it's bad, some of it's weird, some of it's also you know a lot of the best movies that we typically like that come out of the genre almost all come out of Fantastic Fest first. So
okay, well then send me some links in Discord. As you just said, it's the Alamo. I think I have an Alamo account too.
So it's different because I have an Alamo account as well. But it's Alamo On Demand. It's a little different. I'll send you the stuff because I sent it.
Send it to
over
me.
to Nick last night.
Worst case scenario is it'll be background.
Yeah.
I mean,
and some of these movies actually didn't feel very fantastic. Did you get that impression, Nick? Some of these movies just felt kind of like normal, weird, more like thrillery than.
Well, yeah, and I'm a little hesitant because they're bookending the whole fest with werewolf movies, and werewolf movies are my least favorite of the horror genre.
I think there's a lot of bad. I'm excited. I'm like, let's bring werewolves back. They haven't been in vogue for a long time.
On that 1500 list, I was knocking out all the werewolf movies. So I've seen like a lot recently. I've seen like 10 werewolf movies like within the past
I watched
couple
like 4 last year off that. I was at the same list, yeah.
I don't know why I'm thinking about this, but have you guys ever seen Hereditary?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Ari Aster. That's Ari Aster's first movie.
Mm-hmm.
That movie had one of the most fucked up scenes I've ever seen in any movie.
Which one?
I don't want to ruin it for anyone, man. So I'm just
Hold on. Is it the car scene?
Of course, it's the car scene.
Okay, just making sure that it's not like the dinner table scene.
No, it's like it's just I don't know why it was such a shock. I don't know if I wasn't expecting it. I think they did a really good job not making you think something like that was going to happen, because it just really came out of nowhere. But I don't know. That's a discussion we can have for another time.
Yeah.
We can talk about horror movies when we talk about our horror games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great. The spoiler horror shows that we will do all month. I feel kind of bad because this show is basically just a spoiler show. Like we're always just talking about stuff and going through story in deep detail and just spoiling everything. We aren't doing.
Well, that's like normal reviews, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like, hey, next week we're talking about this. If you don't want to listen to it, don't. It's gonna get spoiled.
Yeah.
But I like it. I feel like there's no other chance to really do it. Screw it.
Yeah. Now, if you're spoiling Fantastic Fest movies, you might be an asshole. Like movies no one's seen.
Yeah.
Instead of like, what was I worried about thinking about spoiling? I forget what game, and I was like, my game came out in like '89. I think we can spoil this. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. All right. I guess we can go ahead and finish up now. We've already been on. We changed the time so we could get off earlier. It's not.
Well, we started late, Mark.
We did start late.
Too busy.
I need my pizza.
Eating the pizza. I didn't want to say it, but
I don't know why you'd be upset with me eating pizza.
I was trying to protect your privacy. I'm protecting your privacy.
Bukkake pizza. Anyway,
gotta hit that protein.
Jesus Christ. Thank you everybody for listening. We can go up and finish here. I feel like you guys should have something that you say like at the end of every show, like just a statement or something that you're like, I want to say this before we get off the air. I have this thing that I want the world to know before we leave the air.
My finisher move.
Yeah, your finisher quip.
No.
No.
I'm not doing that right now. But let it simmer.
Nick,
that you want us to come up with a. Yeah, do you have a finisher, Nick?
I mean, I just think in general we've learned from this stream too. Please do not mess up bukkake and mukbang in a normal conversation. It'll really change that conversation.
Yes, you know what bukkake is and know that's not the word you probably should be using.
Right.
Have you never played Cards Against Humanity with your family and had to explain bukkake with them? Is I the only one?
Yeah, I think maybe you are. I've never risked that, so I'm okay.
Oh, I had like a summer where I had to explain bukkake like to 3 different groups of people. I know one of them, Nick, was there. And they're like, "What's bukkake?" And you're like, "All right, I got this." And then it happened again with my family. And that was one of those like, "All right, let's do this." Super straight face. Can't wait to see my sister just panic.
So well, this is a good way to end it, guys. Friends with Backlog. See you next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Oh no, where's the audio? There we go.